This is Case by Case. A convicted murderer is fighting to reclaim her innocence from prison, and a victim's advocate who's dedicated to find justice by exonerating a girl from Delphi. Will the truth prevail? 5 suspects, 1 victim, an unknown motive. The Palladino connection. Who was it raised? And most importantly, who's lying? Join us as we reinvestigate the murder of Nicole Bowen. Case by Case.
Good evening, everyone. How are you tonight, Rhonda? Welcome to Case by... Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say I'm doing well. I think I've recovered from my food coma.
Oh my gosh, yes. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope everyone had a great holiday and enjoyed time with family and had awesome food. We did mine yesterday, so we're still eating leftovers. We probably will be eating leftovers all week. So welcome to Case by Case. My name is Amy, and I'm just going to let everybody start popping in here. Good evening, everyone. We have a lot to cover tonight, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time here at the very beginning. Hi, Amber. We've got a little bit of a slideshow presentation to go through, and I know I would actually had intended on going over some interview recordings that I had from Mikey Hiddle. However, I was just telling Rhonda, I spent 5 hours today cutting and editing and splicing everything together because actually I have quite a bit from Mikey Hiddle, and I got it all done and was setting it up to save and found out that for whatever reason, the audio did not record. So that was a huge bummer after spending almost all day working on it. So we'll touch base tonight on Mikey a little bit, but I didn't realize how much information I had and how many recordings and interviews and audio that I had to put together. So I honestly can probably make that alive in itself. But we will be going over we'll be going back to Jeff's interview that I did, I think like a month and a half, 2 months ago. We visited just a few minutes of it in one of our first lives where he talks about Garrett taking Nicole out to his property to ride horses. And we're going to pick up from there, moving forward to the rest of the interview when Garrett shows back up with Ashley at his house and what transpired during those events. So I'm going to take a second to say hello. Hello, Louise, Under Your Scars, Jennifer, Amber. Glad you guys are all here tonight. We've got, I have Rhonda's channel is going to be linked in the chat tonight. Rhonda's channel is also going to be her channel information. If you'd like to go over there and subscribe, is also in the show notes in this video. So Rhonda, do you want to take a few minutes and just talk about your channel real quick?
Yeah, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. As some of you may already know, I cover a wrongful conviction case against Daniel Holtzclaw, a former Oklahoma City police officer. And it's a big, long story, so I won't go into it, but it's definitely very twisted and very convoluted and controversial. I believe 100% in Daniel's innocence, and I work daily actually, to try to put together facts and proof with documents and transcripts for everybody. And currently we are covering one of the accusers who had the most ridiculous accusation of all of the 13, and he was found not guilty on hers. But we're actually reading the transcript, the trial transcript of her trial testimony in part 2 tomorrow night, and we've already read the first part where she went through direct examination by the state's attorney, and then tomorrow night we're going to have cross-examination from Daniel's attorney, and it is pretty wild. So yeah, just grab the go to my channel, and you can get the first part of her trial testimony in the description, so you can watch that ahead of time, and then watch the cross-examination tomorrow. It's going to be pretty interesting. So buckle up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy.
You're welcome. The interrogation videos in all cases usually are pretty telling. And I don't know how you're doing it because your case is, I mean, I feel like this case is massive and twisted and there's so many players. But in your case, I mean, there's what, 13? Is it 13 accusers that
13 accusers, yeah.
you have to go? I know when you said that you were working on transcripts, and you said you had thousands of pages. I'm like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
In Ashley's case, there's only 512, and I'm
Oh,
still waiting
yeah.
on some of those to arrive. But
There's
they're a must.
over 5,000 pages between all of his charging documents and affidavits and preliminary testimony, jury voir dire, and then trial testimony. There's over 5,000 pages, so it's a lot.
I bet. Good evening,
Yeah.
Maya or Myra. Thank you for joining all the way from Scotland. My goodness. Pretty be curious to know how you found us. 268 or so years he got. Yeah. She's talking about Daniel under your scars. She said, is that right? Daniel got 268 years?
Sorry, I was muted. 263
263.
consecutive.
Okay.
Yeah, 263. So there were 36 counts between all the 13 accusers, and he was found guilty on 18 of the 36, so exactly half. But instead of, like a lot of judges will do even in, murder cases or, horrible children's, uh, you know, crime cases, a judge will often run counts and cases um, concurrently. But in Daniel's case, he ran all 263 years consecutive, which is
Hmm.
really it's an excessive it's an excessive sentence. Number one, the 263 years, but to run those 263 years consecutively is, I don't want to say it's unheard of, but it's very uncommon to do that. So yeah,
He
that's
was
what we
definitely
ended up with. What
making
we're
a
fighting
statement with
against.
that. Right. Well, for those of you who are watching live or are going to watch the replay, this case that we're covering is about Ashley Garth. She was charged with murder back in 2019, and she was taken to a trailer and by her ex-boyfriend. The relationship's complicated. They had broken up back in January of 2019. He had been cheating. He had been stealing from her home. So she attempted to end the relationship, in which most people who are familiar with a domestic violence situation knows that leaving is the hardest part. He broke in, he attacked her, he strangled her, he did a lot of horrible things to her. And he went to jail, but only for a week and a half. He then gets out. He continues to harass and threatens. Thanks, Louise. Hi, Dawn. Good evening. He continued to harass and threaten and basically ends up breaking the restraining order by showing up at the house while Ashley is there and her stepfather's there. He is then arrested again, but however, he's not charged with violating the restraining order. He's only charged with invasion of privacy. 13 days later, he takes the life of a man by the name of Ray Hainish. And then 16 days after that, he takes Nicole, who had been his, I guess, girlfriend at the time, someone that he had been seeing, and he takes her to this trailer where he had left Ashley about 12 hours prior, stranded, her waiting for him to come back. And he shows up with Nicole. And of course, Ashley and Nicole are aware of each other. They do not like each other simply because, Garrett had been cheating with Nicole. So a fight ensues. And in the midst of a fight, Garrett jumps in, grabs Nicole, and puts her in a chokehold and strangles her to death. And
Amy,
yes,
Amy, you're fading in and out. I know you want to know when that's happening, so.
yes, of my lovely Wi-Fi is at it again. Can you hear me now? Am I doing okay?
Yes.
Is it better?
Yes.
Sorry,
it's better.
everybody. Yeah, I can't hear myself, but up here in my office, it's kind of like sometimes the Wi-Fi just doesn't work with me. So, good evening, Mama Libra Scales. Nice to see you again. But anyway, just going back to recap of the case for those who are new to it. Garrett is arrested in Nicole's car. There had been a lot that transpired over the course of those few days. And he goes into his interrogation video, which has obviously been posted on my channel. You can go and watch that in its entirety. His first interview, where he gives a complete version of events that never happened by stating that Chris Mathis is the one who took Nicole's life. And then in his second interview, he's basically confronted with the fact that everybody in this case is pointing the finger at him. And I believe the way that it was stated in that interview, Detective Rowe pretty much made it obvious that that included Ashley. And if you follow this case and you follow everything Garrett Kurtz related, you're going to see that anybody who speaks out against him becomes a massive target in his eyes. So anyway, that's kind of the recap. If you go through all of the different videos that we've already done, there's a lot more detail available, other interrogation videos that we've already gone over, plus we have several more to go. But tonight we're going to go over some of the things that we've put together. I'm going to pull up a presentation for going into Ashley's video tonight. And first, we're going to start with, as I've done with, actually, I didn't do this with Garrett, but I should have. But I did do it with Jasmine. But this is Ashley's case summary, all of her interactions with the courts, and I've highlighted all of the cases that are not related to the Newton County case. And as you can see here, Ashley had no felonies prior to this event, and the majority of these, especially the criminal misdemeanor case, was what they call in Indiana a conversion. It was converted, which means, for example, Ashley was pulled over for no driver's license. And that was kind of a common theme with her, driving without a license. And then there was an incident where she was pulled over and she had drug paraphernalia on her. Am I sounding okay, Rhonda?
Yes.
Okay. So she then was put on probation. And so those cases were converted into one. So they kind of all run together. So all of these are listed individually. However, they all became one case. So you can see on here that she had a couple of infractions that was for traffic, and then the criminal misdemeanor from where she was on probation and broke probation. So nothing of major incident or concern in her case history with Indiana. She had no felonies, no violent history prior to the murder charge that she got in Newton County. So that was, I thought, important to talk about because, and with everybody else in this case, they all have um, really long uh, case files with several felonies where she did not. So next we're going to talk about, this is the probable cause order for the strangulation case, and I'm sorry that I could not get it listed any clearer. Uh, Understand that a lot of the case documents that I've gotten, some of them have come through Ashley's Google Drive. Not everything when I initially started working on this case was easy to access, and you know, I actually had to make the trip to Indiana to pick up a lot of these documents. So why is this skipping around on me like that? So this was actually a an image that I got from Ashley's Google Drive going through all of her emails and correspondence with her attorney. But this is basically the probable cause order showing that Garrett was in fact charged with strangling her. And if you go back through the case file and you can see how long this case was drug out, it's really ridiculous. This case was drug out for almost a year, I believe, maybe even a little over a year. But in his interrogation video, he has the audacity to tell the detectives that, if you go back and you listen to it, he tells the detectives that his girlfriend recanted. And that is absolutely not true. You can pull up the Indiana Gov site and look through this case history, and you can see how many pretrial hearings there were, how many transport orders were put in, because you have to remember, Garrett was sitting in the Newton County Jail this whole entire time. All they had to do was go pick him up and take him to Carroll County to stand trial or to deal with this case. And for whatever reason, they kept canceling these transport orders. They kept rescheduling these pretrial hearings, and then ultimately they dismissed the case. For why, I have no idea. But if they would have held him in jail, um, if they would have held him on the breaking of the restraining order and no contact order in February, Ray and Nicole would still be alive. So that's just a very sad thought that this was allowed to happen. This here again is Garrett's signature on the protection order issued on January 22nd of 2019. And then the motion to dismiss was filed on October 23rd of 2001. So that is that portion of it. And I'm going to hold off on going over the rest because oh, actually, no. Sorry, I forgot this was in here. And I included here really quick these Facebook posts from Ashley. And the one on the right uh, was posted on March 15th. And this was after Ashley was contacted. Now, remember, Garrett had Ashley's phone, and he was using her phone as if it was his. And when Ashley would actually use her son's PlayStation to log on to Facebook, she would see what messages were going back, and she could see the messages in her Facebook Messenger. Well, there was a message that was sent to her by a guy that was asking her, "Was that you on Garrett's phone?" And she says, she replies, "What? I'm not with Garrett. What are you talking about?" And he said, "Oh, my bad." Well, further down in that conversation, this Kurt guy is basically telling Ashley, there's Cherie, is basically telling, good evening, Cherie.
Hello, ladies.
How are you?
I'm
Hello.
good.
So basically, he proceeds to tell Ashley that from I guess her account, I mean, he must have misspoke and said on Garrett's phone, because she didn't have Garrett's phone, he had hers. But basically, Garrett was requesting nude photos from him. So Garrett took it upon, or Ashley took it upon herself to post on her Facebook at that point in time. This was on March 15th at 7:04 p.m. And if you see in the light pink writing, I don't know how well you guys can see that. It says, here is more evidence that Garrett is and she calls him a derogatory name, but you can read it. Starts with an F. So I'm pretty sure that made Garrett not happy at all. And then over here, hi Kay. Then over here on the left, this is written on March. This was March 23rd that she posted this, but she basically shared. This came from, it looks like 3 a.m. Thoughts, which is another, she shared it. And it says, these last couple of months, I've been the realist. I got a wake up call. Had the person I thought that would be in my life for a long time. I'm friends with everybody to keeping my circle small and staying low key. I've learned that nobody is really down for you like you would think. So that was on March 23rd. That is what, less than a week from the night that Nicole lost her life. So she's acknowledging that she's not running around with anybody or doing the normal things that she would normally do. She's keeping to herself. Her circle's small. So I thought that was important to talk about, or at least to show. Let me see. There we go. So does anybody have any questions before we go forward and I get into Jeff's interview? I feel like the chat is really slow tonight. All right. Well, we're going to hop into this is Jeff is the guy home that Garrett took Nicole to back on March 18th, the day after Ray's body was discovered. And they went out there to ride horses, and apparently Nicole didn't want to ride horses. So Garrett and Jeff, they did. And Garrett and Nicole ended up spending the night and then got up the next morning and left. And then within okay, what'd she say? Not me. I'm ready to buckle in and listen while I clean house. Okay. Hi, Toby. Good evening. For those of you that don't know, Toby is Ashley's dad. And Mama, I do that all the time. I listen to podcasts and channels while I clean the house. So, but anyway, Jeff is, I think Jeff actually might be on here listening. I sent him the link. So if he figures out a way to comment in the chat, we might hear from him. So, but I think he's here. But anyway, we're going to go into the rest of his interview where he's talking about Garrett bringing Ashley out there and what transpired. And the reason I'm playing this now is so you can, because you have to understand this is where Ashley came from when she turned herself into the police department. This is all the things that had transpired when Garrett took her out to Jeff's. So she was from Newton County. She was literally almost 2 hours away from, being out in Crawfordsville at Jeff's to making her way back without transportation all the way to Newton County. So they were able to get her back as close to Lafayette. And this police interview that we're going to go into takes place in Lafayette. So we're going to hop into Jeff's interview. And I think I have it queued up. Wait a minute. They were like, all right, well, we're leaving. Hold on. Let me just make sure we're in the right place here.
Yeah,
You guys got to bear with me.
You're fine. It's kind of
I'm
frustrating.
so
As soon as you add your clip to the stage, it automatically starts playing. So it's frustrating.
yeah, and I had it already set and queued up at the right spot, so now here we are.
Oh no.
I don't know. They was out in the country, hit a deer or whatever. Week and a half
Yeah.
later, something like that.
Okay.
I think. You know, like I told you before, I'm not really all that going to be all that useful for you on dates, and I could just tell you the events that happened. You know, so
Okay. Were they? Do you know what kind of car they were in? I know. I think I asked you that before.
when Nicole and Garrett showed up, they was in some like little gray foreign car. I didn't pay too much attention to it. But
Was it like
I
a
know-
Scion?
yeah, it could have been. It was like a little 2-door gray car.
Okay.
I remember the front bumper was missing on it,
Okay.
and he went to
I
he
think.
went to this
I think that was
big elaborate. He went into this big elaborate story of how they've going. I don't know. They was out in the country, hit a deer or whatever. It just recently happened, or I don't know. You know, the dude's so full of shit that So, but anyhow, so when I meet Nicole, they leave.
What were they like with each other while they were there? What was she like?
I don't know. It's just kind of weird because she was like, "Hey, do you care if I sit in your truck?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't care." You know what I mean? So she was in the truck, and Garrett and I was in the barn, and we was getting horses saddled up, and we was, getting ready to go for a ride. And then he was asking her if she wanted to go. Well, she didn't want to go with us on the horses, so she just hung out there at the truck, that was pulled up by the barn. So, like, I didn't even think nothing about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, they seemed to get along. So Garrett and I went riding for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, something like that.
Uh-huh.
We got back to the barn and saddled the horses. They hung out the rest of the evening. The next day, when daylight broke, they were like, "All right, well, we're leaving at now. Hey, thanks for having us." So they leave, and then I would say, whatever, we can have 2 weeks at the most. Garrett hits me up again and wants to know if he can bring Ashley out. If him and Ashley can come and hang out. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Whatever. So when him and Ashley show up, it's later on in the evening. And, my first thought when I walked in, I was like, dang, they're really high. Because when, Ashley comes in behind Garrett, she, really closed off, really, really quiet. Has a book bag in her hand, like has her arms wrapped around this book bag,
Mm-hmm.
has her his jacket on and, with a hoodie, and she's not making eye contact with nobody. Standoffish, just, I don't know. So I just took it as in, they were high.
Mm-hmm.
But, like looking back at it, it's like, yeah, that's really not what's going on. So anyways, later on in the evening, going into the morning, my buddy Chris calls. He's like, "Hey, man, I need your help down here." So I'm like, "All right, we'll be there in a minute." Load up, go down the road, and that's when the girl at the time that I was seeing, or whatever you want to call that.
So when you left, Garrett went with you?
Yeah, Garrett and Ashley got in the truck with us and went down to my Chris's.
Oh, okay. So Ashley went with you down there.
Yeah, he came down to my buddy Chris's with us.
Was it like she went, or was it like just Garrett? What was the vibe? Now looking, was he telling her let's go, or was she like?
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, let's go." And we get in the truck, and it was just like, I don't know, it's like it's that lifestyle, like when guys have their old ladies around, he's really bossy. You know what I mean? It's just like you're gonna do. I don't know. It's just a real weird world to be a part of. So you really don't even think nothing about it.
Uh-huh.
People are already weird. So introduce drugs into the situation, and now people really got weird. So anyways, we load up in the truck. We head down to my buddy Chris's. What we went there for is to help him fix his well pump. So his well pump quit running on him.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it going for him again. Chris was like, "Come on inside, hang out for a minute, whatever." So it's probably 3 o'clock in the morning now, maybe 4 or something like that.
Oh, okay. Geez.
Yeah. So we're in the kitchen. Garrett, myself, my buddy Chris is in the kitchen, and the girls are like in the living room, which the kitchen and the living room are connected. And then Angel stands up and she's like, "Hey, Jeff, can I talk to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Yeah, not right now, man. Just let us finish doing what we're doing. We're gonna get the fuck out of here." You know? She's like, "No, I need to talk to you right now." I'm like, "What the fuck is that important that you need to interrupt what I'm doing?" You know?
Mm-hmm.
So just give me a minute, and we can go out and talk, whatever you want to do. She's like, "No, I really need to talk to you right now." And at this time, Angel's never been that calm with me.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Usually she's like really bossy, really demanding, telling me to go fuck myself because I'm not jumping when she says to jump, and all this other cool stuff. So I'm like, something happened. So I'm like, what? What's going on, man? She kind of like pulls me off to the other side of the kitchen, and she's like, actually telling me that she can't get the fuck away from Garrett, that Garrett forced her to come with him. She's been trying to get away from him for the last fucking week, and she's scared. I'm like, what's she scared of? Is he just being mean? Or she's like, no, Garrett killed some girl, and now it's making Ashley go everywhere with him, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, bullshit. So at the same time, the news comes on, and lo and behold, it's breaking like news about they discovered this body in Newton County.
Do you know what time of day that was? Was it morning, like the morning news, or was it the noon news, or?
It was the morning news, so it had to have been about like 5, 6 o'clock by that time.
So this was like on a Sunday then, because Nicole was found around 2 o'clock on Saturday the 30th. So this had to have been early in the hours of Sunday, I guess, maybe.
Like, so I don't know if this is like the breaking news or if this is like news that was like, hey, we're still investigating this. Okay,
Uh-huh.
you know what I mean? I just know that it came on the news. The moment Angel was telling me what Ashley was telling her, and I'm like, motherfucker, man. You know?
Were you able at that point to put two and two together as to who the girl was?
No, because I didn't like see a picture or none of that shit, and I really wasn't even familiar with her name until all this stuff took place. Like afterwards, you know what I mean? Like when things started unfolding in court, and then I was like, "Oh, that was her name. Her name was Nicole." Wow.
Okay.
Okay, So then it just started like things started clicking, and
So you see it on the news, and you and Angel you're not in the same room. You're not in the same room with Ashley and Garrett.
Well, the kitchen and the living room, you'd have to see how the kitchen and living room are laid out. So it's like an open floor concept.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of distance between us, maybe 20 feet between us. Well, when Angel comes into the kitchen and she's like wanting to she's like, I need to talk to you now. You know what I mean? So when I'm over there talking to her, I look over and Garrett's heading towards Ashley and her back is to him, and he leans over the couch and he grabs her by the back of her jacket and her hoodie and grabs her by her, what would be, I think would be her right shoulder, and pulls her back and starts whispering in her ear, and you can see him getting madder and madder and madder.
Why do you think he did? Why do you think he did that?
I think, well, looking back at it now, I believe that he knew that Ashley had said something to Angel.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's why Angel was in there talking to me. So when I come in there, and I'm like, hey, motherfucker, you know what I mean? Like, you holding this girl against her will?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, it's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. She jumps up off the couch. She's fucking bawling. And she's like, you won't let me get away from him. I can't get the fuck away from him. I'm like, oh, no, don't worry about it. You're getting away from him. And then I asked him, I'm like, did you kill that girl that was on the fucking news, man? Are you involved in that? He's like, it's not what you think it is. I'm like, all right, I don't give a fuck what it is, but this is what's happening. Ashley's leaving with Angel and I. We're going to take her back to where she lives, and you're leaving, dude. You know what I mean? She's not going with you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, just let me talk to her for a minute. And then somebody probably pulled a pistol out and stuck it in his face.
You said somebody probably.
Yeah, no, well, then that's when I pulled a pistol out of my pocket and I stuck it in his face. And I was like, you're not talking to anybody else here, man. You're fucking leaving,
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, so Garrett walks out. I'm not sure what direction he goes. And that's when I ask Ashley, I'm like, where do you live? Where are you from? I don't even know where she's from.
Uh-huh.
He was like, I need to go back to Lafayette. I need to go to my grandma's house. I need to go to my grandma's house. He's, get back to my grandma. I need to get back to my grandma. I'm like, just chill out. What's her address? You know what I mean? So we can get you back there and you can explain what's going on. You can call the cops or whatever it is you got to do when you get back with your grandma. Have your grandma take you in, do whatever. And I was like, or unless you need us to take you to the cops right now, like, whatever you need, whatever you want done, we'll get it done. And she's like, just take me back to my grandma's house. So we took her over to Lafayette, and we pulled up in front of a house. She got out, said thanks and goodbye. And so that was the last time I heard from her or Garrett.
So did she?
Until I got subpoenaed to go to court and to pretty much tell them the same thing that I'm telling you guys.
And did you get to tell it all in court?
I did, but so like when I got on the stand, the prosecutor was just like trying to like, well, yeah, are you not incarcerated at this time? I'm like, well, yeah. Then she was like, so you're a convicted felon and you've been convicted of, oh, here, let's see. And she flips open her folder. So she was just trying to discredit me in every kind of way to anybody that was listening to it,
Right.
which is her job, I guess, you know what I mean? But still the fact of the matter is like, what am I gaining by being here? I didn't sign up. I didn't like write you guys and be like, hey, I got some juicy information for you. No, it was, I get woke up one night and told to pack my stuff that Newton County was there to get me. I didn't even know that I was going,
So when you got to Newton County, from when they transported you, did they take you to the courthouse or what they do?
Well, they took me to the jail first, and then ironically, when I get to the jail, they put me in a holding cell, and so when we get there, everybody is asleep, obviously, and then like that morning when they bring Tyler out, I like go to the door, and I can see through the window that they just brought Garrett through, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why am I at the same jail as him? And then I started like putting things together. I'm like, oh man, dude.
Did he see you?
Yeah, he seen me, and through the window, he's like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing here, bro?" And I was like, "Call you fucking bitch." I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
Hey, yeah.
So then,
it wasn't until that morning when I kept asking to talk to like some sort of brass sergeant, somebody that knew what was going on, why I was there. They brought me some paperwork saying that I was subpoenaed to testify in this trial for Ashley, and I was just like, "Oh, what the fuck? So you guys come and pick me up on a Friday and hold me here all weekend." And then that Sunday is when Ashley's attorney came in and she interviewed me there at the jail. Yeah, she just it just felt like her attorney was just there for the simple fact of saying that she was there to interview me. She wasn't taking notes. Like she wasn't like, hey, are you willing to testify or
do you even
anything like that.
Do you even remember what she asked you?
Pretty much, and she asked me like what Garrett and Ashley were doing at my house. Like, how did they end up there? Did I know of anything that happened before Garrett and Ashley got there? And I was like, no, I thought they were coming out to hang out, and we was gonna go ride horses again, like the last time that Garrett was there. I didn't know why they was there. So
when after Garrett left, did you have a chance to even talk with Ashley? Like what had happened? Did she describe to you what had transpired? What was her demeanor? Like what was she like?
Well, in between her crying the whole time, and when you could get her to catch her breath and to talk, she just kept saying that he killed Nicole, and that she thinks that he's going to kill her, and that she just needs to get
Not sure why the audio is going haywire. I'm trying to fix it. Does it sound really horrible, you guys? It keeps cutting out. I think it's my wonderful Wi-Fi, possibly.
Well, is it the recording of your call that's going in and
It
out?
might. It might be. It might be. I can't remember because this was recorded a while back.
Okay.
I'm gonna let because for the most part the audio is good, but then it does have the moments where it cuts out. So I'm just gonna let it play out a few minutes longer. So, oh, Jack said it sounds okay to him. Okay, well maybe I don't know. I'll finish it
Yeah,
out.
I think we're okay.
Get away from you. She never like went into detail about how Nicole got killed or where Nicole got killed. She just said that he killed Nicole, and she thinks that he's gonna kill her now, and she couldn't get away from him.
Uh-huh.
She just needed to get back to her grandma's house. She just kept repeating herself. So it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't until later. I mean, I'm talking later, I'm talking like 18 months later that it was like, wow, it was a lot deeper than I thought it was.
Right.
So.
Right.
And then when you see all the people that were involved, and then all the other corrupt bullshit that you're like, damn, I don't understand how there's just a lot of unanswered questions on
Right.
my part. It's like I just don't get it.
Right.
I don't know.
So did Garrett when you confronted him, what I mean, how resistant was he to leave without her, or did he just go willingly? Or I mean, I understand that you pulled a gun on him, but
His
before
whole
you
tune changed. You know what I mean? I didn't give him an opportunity to try to bow up or try to resist or any of that shit. I was pretty aggressive with him, and he knew that I meant business about it. And I'm not trying to sound tough or anything like that. It's just like, but he just knew that his options were limited. And he asked 3 or 4 times, "Can I just talk to her before I leave? I'll leave. Can I just talk to her before I leave?" And I asked Ashley, I said, "Do you want to fucking talk to him?" She said, "No, I don't have nothing to fucking say to you, Garrett. Just fucking leave and leave me alone. I don't want to be with you. I didn't want to be with you, and I'm not gonna be with you."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what was his reaction to that?
He just kept telling her how much he loved her. "I love you. This is all a misunderstanding. This is all a misunderstanding. I love you." He's like, "I don't know what you're trying to do right now." He was just trying to smooth things over good enough to where he thought he could manipulate his way back into her good graces somehow. But he wasn't going to manipulate his way back into my good graces. That's a fact. You know what I mean? He's like, "Dude, you're leaving, and she's not going with you. If she wants to go with you, that's fine. That's her decision. But if she's telling me she don't want to go with you, I'm not allowing you to force her to go anywhere. That's over with." And she's been sitting here telling me the whole time that you forced her to go. So.
Yeah. He had done some pretty awful things to her.
Yeah, like now that the time has went by and people have learned more things, like more things that have came out. Yeah, he has done some pretty horrible things to that girl. Even prior to this whole thing with Nicole, he was mean to that girl. You know what I mean? He was controlling, he was possessive. Like, you should have heard him when he was in jail in Boone County with me talking to her on the phone, telling her what kind of piece of trash she is, and she's probably out fucking his buddies, and she'll get hers when he gets out. I'm like, dude, you're sitting there saying you love this girl, and you're just, doing everything you can to threaten her on the phone while you're locked up. I mean, I don't get it, man. And I was like, you talk all tough on this phone. I was like, but when you get off that phone, man, you don't say nothing to anybody. Matter of fact, they seen you get drug off in the cell and get beat up.
So how was he talking to her on the phone? Was she
He would just
on? Go ahead.
He would just be calling her names, telling her she's a whore, that she's a piece of trash, and she's probably out fucking everybody, and that he wanted to see his kid and all this other shit, and just telling her, "Oh, that's cool. I'll get even when I get out."
Well, how was it that okay? Because I'm just trying to do the timeline because I know that they were in Newton County Jail together.
Yeah.
And then at some point, like 6 months later, she gets out on bond. So was she
Yeah.
out on bond before trial? Like,
No, listen, I'm talking about that. He was talking to her like that in Boone County in like 2017.
Okay. This wasn't
No,
during
I was
that time.
never. No, it was no. Hell no. I wouldn't be standing there listening to that dude talk on the fucking phone. He'd been getting beat up at that point, you know. So
I
yeah.
see.
So in 2017, when I met him, when he just like turned 18, and he was locked up for a possession charge in Boone County, you know. So
Okay, so it was from there he was talking to her. Okay,
yeah, he was, you know.
that makes sense.
So
Yeah, it's a there's a lot of that's how I even got involved in all this because there was so many unanswered. It just didn't make any sense with all these people. And the
right.
more the last 8-9 months of this, the stuff that I've gathered and collected and been able to connect the dots, it's
Yeah,
it's pretty remarkable the stuff that has come out.
yeah, and you know the sad thing about human beings is they'll always change the story every time they tell it. They always want to add just a little bit more to it, or take something away from it, or they want to make it a little bit more extreme to it. You know, try to build the story up a little bit better that they was involved in this or that. You know, and it's fucking sad because you're playing with people's lives on this. This isn't talking about stealing a fucking stick of gum or stealing a car or a dope case. You know, people have lost their lives, and uh, in more than one way. You know, Ashley's been killed, and not Ashley. Dang it, I'm sorry. Nicole been killed. Ashley's been locked up. You know.
And then there's Ray.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know, I didn't even know anything about that
Yeah,
until you had said something to me about it. So.
yeah, and that was literally 16 days apart. So
Wow.
yeah, he killed Ray, and then 16 days later, there was Nicole.
Right.
And and you don't know none of the other people that were involved, like Talitha Beckley, Jasmine Parker, Chris Mathis. You had never encountered Chris Mathis in jail anywhere?
No, I've never even been to Newton County other than the time that I was forced to go up there. With no reason for me to go up there. You know, like I'm not that type of guy that's just like, hey, you know what? Just gonna take off on an adventure today. So, I've got there's a lot of things going on here that keeps me pretty occupied.
Right.
You know, so it's just like,
Right.
So yeah, and I didn't even know how.
Okay, I think that covers pretty much the gist of the interview with Jeff. Let me see. Take this off here. So thoughts on hearing the whole thing? Yeah, I think so too.
Well,
He was definitely on his way to being
I
a
don't
serial
know.
killer.
Yeah, I don't know why I feel like this, but he sounds to me like somebody who has nothing to lose by telling the truth. But that's just, I mean, that's, I can't say that for sure because I don't know him at all, of course, and I don't know his past. I don't know anything. I mean, obviously, he has a criminal history or criminal record, but a lot of people have criminal records who are decent, good people, and so I don't know. He just comes across to me as somebody who has nothing to lose by just telling the truth. It's just my thoughts.
Yeah, well, going back to when I first found him through court records, um, and then asking Ashley about who he was when his name appeared in some of the paperwork I had, um, he was not willing to talk to me. I actually had to reach out to his sister to act because he had a Facebook account that hadn't been really used in a couple of years. So I literally had to go through his Facebook page and track down a family member. And luckily, she passed the message along, and he wanted nothing to do with it. And I think initially he thought that I was possibly contacting him in defense of Garrett. And after literally an entire day of going back and forth through text messages, um, he finally said, "Well, if you're telling me that you're trying to help Ashley, if that's what you're saying, I'll talk to you." And I said, because when you're contacting these people, first of all, the first thing they think is that you're connected with law enforcement. They want nothing to do with it. Or they think that something that they did or whatever could, you know, um, implicate them. I mean, you're dealing with a murder. And so really nobody wants to be involved. But so when I approach these people, I have to do it in a way where I'm not really sure what their stance or their opinion is going to be. So I don't really say one way or the other. I'm just, researching the case, and they usually want to know right off the rip why. So when he said, "If you're telling me that you're trying to help Ashley, then I'll talk to you." And that's when I was like, "Okay, yes, that's why I'm contacting you." And he actually that evening he gave me a call and we spoke on the phone briefly, and he was very believable, very, clear and concise as you can hear, when he told me what had happened. And then I reached back out to him later on because I just wanted to get it on, basically, I guess you could say on the record. I let him know up front I was going to record it, and that way I had it. And he agreed. So that's what that was. But he was definitely, I believe that he's definitely believable, and his story lines up with Ashley's, and there's tidbits of it in Garrett's interrogation, but yet Garrett sugarcoats it like, he says he got a text, and he told Ashley, "I have to leave. I have to go." Not that he had a gun put in his face and was forced to leave, because Garrett's not going to admit that, I guess, bottom line, that he was punked like that. Same thing with Jason Palladino when he took Talitha back to Jason's property after Nicole. Jason came out and pulled a gun on him. Those reasons, I believe, are much different than Jeff's, and we'll go into that when we get into Talitha's interviews. But I felt Jeff was believable, and that phone call was not edited in any way. It was simply recorded from beginning to end, and you guys can, take it at face value, and you can, derive your own opinions on what you think of him. Didn't
I
Jeff
think
say?
he was believable too. In fact, he's kind of a hero to me because he got Ashley away from him, from Garrett. So that's my thoughts on it.
Right, right. Well, Nan's life, yes. And I think, I think that Jeff may have, as far as the location of where Ashley's grandma was, he might have gotten that wrong, because Ashley's grandmother does not live in Lafayette. She lives in Delphi. Um, and at that point in time, uh, Mama Libra says she thinks Jeff sounds very believable. At that point in time, you have to consider what time of day it was. And it was in the middle of the night when this happened. And Ashley, there was some time that went by. And I think Ashley, she says now, my God, hindsight's 2020. In her mind, being innocent, there wasn't really, she really wasn't sure what to do, but she knew that she had to tell. And she called her grandmother. Her grandmother was in her working years. Her grandmother's in her 80s now. Was a paralegal. So Ashley knew what her grandmother's stance on that was going to be. But later that morning, after getting a shower and getting something to eat, I believe Ashley said that Jeff, it was kind of up in the air because Jeff had to go to work. Yes, Toby, absolutely. That's exactly how Ashley has described it, that Jeff saved her life. You're absolutely right. That's what she said. Um, But she got something to eat, she showered, and I believe her intentions was to try to get her grandmother to pick her up. And since she had been missing for that week, her grandmother was quite upset with her. Um, Not knowing the circumstances that Ashley was in, her grandmother, and I can say I don't know all of the exact details. I can only tell you what I have been told, what Ashley has told me, what the family has told me, and I know that Ashley's grandma to this day really, really regrets not going and getting her when Ashley wanted her to. She was upset with her, and she had Ashley's son. It was one of those situations. Well, now that Ashley's on the phone, the worriness of her being missing, knowing that Garrett probably had her, um, that went away and anger set in. But to this day, her grandmother says, I cannot believe I allowed her to go into the police department without a lawyer. She's like, I know better. I knew better. And Ashley getting all the way back to Lafayette. And once she was there, she called her dad, and her dad said, Toby's in the chat. He'll tell you what he told his daughter. You're going to do the right thing, and you're going to go in. You're going to go in. And at that point, when she talked to her grandmother, she hadn't even told her grandmother what had happened. She just said, ma'am, Garrett did a really bad thing, and I think I need to go to the police. So they said, honey, go. So she got to Lafayette, and she contacted the police department, um, told them that she was coming in. She told them where she was, and she did go in. And you are going to hear at the very onset of this interrogation video that they say to her, you reached out to us, right? And she said yes. And then you'll hear what she says, and that was a mistake on her part. I think she was scared. I think not knowing where Garrett was, thinking that she's going to go in and tell on him, and then walk out of the police station, not knowing where Garrett was a terrifying thing, because I really do believe 100% that Ashley thought Garrett had every intention of killing her. He had already attempted to do that in January, almost succeeded, and now she has witnessed with her own eyes that he's capable of that to the full extent of taking someone's life, and she didn't even know about Ray at that point. So, we're gonna get into the video, and I will it's not edited, it's the full version, and I hope the audio nothing goes wrong with the audio. So, if does anybody have any questions, or um, wants me to address anything before we get started? That way we can play through this, and I'll let it play for about, I'd say, 30 minutes, and then we can take a break and answer more questions if that works.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Works for me.
Okay. What did Susan say?
I'll be quiet, Susan. She's always bragging about what her yummy stuff.
Chocolate and red wine.
Oh, yeah. I'm the red is what sounds good to me.
Ashley, I believe Ashley called her grandmother from Jeff's house out in Crawfordsville, and where where the where the where Nicole lost her life was in Newton County, which was, I believe, it's almost 2 hours away, and Lafayette is kind of like right in the middle. And then you go through Lafayette, and you pass Delphi, and then you go all the way out. Newton County is like all the way at the edge of the state, I think near Illinois. So she had a lot of distance to travel without having transportation. Thanks, Momo. Okay, here we go. Susan, I don't know if you guys can hear me. No, Susan. Her Jeff dropped her off at a friend of hers house so she could get a change of clothes because she had nothing with her. And her backpack, when Garrett took her, when they left Jasmine's trailer, her backpack was left there with her money, her wallet, and everything in it. So she had been in the same clothes, I believe, since that Monday from when he had put her in the hospital. And then from there, she went to the Lafayette Police Department that morning.
What it says is you understand statements of your rights.
And
What we're gonna do is we're gonna be back, okay? I'm not gonna get your phone, I'm just gonna see.
I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, I'm gonna seize your phone. Okay, so I'm gonna need that. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna be back, okay? I'm not gonna get your phone, I'm just gonna seize it. Okay. We're gonna come back and we're gonna talk with you in just a little bit, okay? Okay.
We're waiting for another guy to get here.
Okay, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, are you willing to talk with us?
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm gonna have you do is I'm just gonna have you sign this as I read them to you. Okay. What it says is you understand statements of your rights. You understand what your rights are. You're willing to make a statement, answer questions. You don't want a lawyer at this time. You understand what you're doing. No promises or threats have been made to you. Okay. And just sign. This is just a rights of rights form. Okay. All right, Ashley. Just relax. Okay. Have your drink. All right.
Okay.
We'll be back to talk with you just a minute. Okay. All right. Are you comfortable?
Okay.
Okay.
more or less like an enemy. Like she was.
You understand your rights and you read that.
Let me just say that the way these were sent to Amy were cut really strange. So all these little clips that you're trying to fast forward. Well, they were still cut really strange. And sometimes you see like a random thing just out of the blue pop in. So it was really annoying.
Yeah, and a lot of these videos came without controls. Like you can't pause them or fast forward them. And when we converted them, they still are really tricky to work with. So you just have to bear with me. And I'm trying to get it up to the point where the detectives first walk in the room. But the phone that they just took from her, with, mind you, without a warrant, like everybody else, they had them fill out paperwork and all of that to take their phone. But that phone was left behind at Jeff's house that belonged to Garrett. And she was going through it while she was sitting there, screenshotting messages that he had sent people. And she tells them that she had screenshotted and saved them on the phone for them to see.
Sorry it took us so long. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm Detective Rowe from the Newton County Sheriff's Office. Have you introduced yourself, Vince?
No, I'm Vince with the Newton County Sheriff.
Our department, you understand your rights and you read that form, correct? Our department said you'd reached out
Yeah.
to us. Okay. So let's talk about that. What did you reach out to us for?
I was at my friend's in Canton, Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night. And
Okay.
I had seen her. I had seen Nicole, and she gave me a black eye, actually.
Okay.
And then she left, and I hadn't heard, I'm my boyfriend, she's my rival, I would say.
She's what?
She's like more or less like an enemy. Like she's my boyfriend's other girl, like.
Okay. Another girl that your boyfriend had
Right.
feelings for?
Right.
So like a rival, is
Right.
what you said?
Which is in fact like why we got into a fight, and I didn't even he broke it up so fast, like I didn't even get to like hit her or nothing, like we just kind of shuffled around, she hit me in the eye, and I got the black eye.
Okay. Which eye was it?
It was this one.
Your left?
Yeah.
Okay. So take me through, you said Thursday night?
Yeah.
So March 28th?
I think so.
Let's look real quick. Yeah, March 20th. Okay. What time did you get there? At whose house was it?
Jasmine, I can't remember what last name is. Her name's Jasmine.
Jasmine Parker?
Yeah.
Okay. Lot 20 there in Kentland?
Yeah.
There, that blue trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What time did you get there?
Day before, we got there on Wednesday. I had gotten a concussion. I was in the hospital and gotten a concussion because Garrett kind of beat me up, and I was out of it for like Friday afternoon is when I finally started feeling like less confused. I was very confused. Like I couldn't even like rattle off when my son's birthday was, and I was like that for a few days. And that's how I was when we got there. Like I'm still not okay. Like I slept for days and.
You mean the days prior he did that to you?
Yeah.
So you got this, so Garrett drove?
No, one of his friends took us and dropped us off.
Okay, who's that?
Kyle Barron.
Kyle Barron? Okay, where's Kyle from?
Lafayette.
Okay. What did he drop you off in? I mean, what'd you drive up there?
His car.
What was it?
A Honda.
Honda, okay. Who has the silver Scion?
I don't know.
Okay. So you're there Thursday night. Tell me what happened how did that girl even get there?
She was with Garrett. Like he left me there with Jasmine like Thursday morning. Yeah, Thursday morning when we got up, he left me and was gone all day.
Okay.
And then he came back at I have, on my phone, I
Yeah.
have times of, like, when I was with, like, when I was trying, because I was blowing them up, like, where are you, all day,
Okay.
and then they came by, and they wasn't there very long at all, because me and her got into it, and they left.
Okay, I'm trying to keep this straight in my head,
Right,
okay? You were there, I weren't, so we're gonna try to simplify it. You got a ride up there Wednesday. You stayed there Thursday, the 28th. Garrett left you there. You're kind of like wondering what the hell is going on, blowing his phone up like, where you at? And he returns with that girl. What's her name?
Nicole.
Nicole what?
I know her as Nicole Thomas,
Okay.
but I don't, it was
Nicole,
different on.
Nicole Bowen?
Yeah.
Okay. So he returns with her. At what time did he return back?
I don't know, it was dark, it was late,
It's rough. Rough time.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock
I'm not
p.m.?
sure, yeah.
Okay. So they walk, who's all in the home right now at 11 o'clock when they return?
It was just me and Jasmine.
Just you and Jasmine. Okay. They walk in. I can imagine you seeing him with the girl that he had feelings with, and what the hell, he hasn't been answering your phone all day. I'd be pissed too. So what happened?
I mean, kind of just like, she seen me, I seen her, and I was gonna fuck her up. Like, that's what I had in my mind. Like, I was,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
like, I wanted to hit her.
Mhm.
And I'm not the type of person, like, I don't fight. Like, people get hurt when I fight. Like, I have sisters, so it's not something that I do. And Garrett instantly broke it up and left.
So what did you do that he broke up?
Like,
Meaning,
like
you
we were.
run up on her and get right in front of her face and
Well,
start
she's
calling her?
taller than me, so like when I went to hit her, she kind of like, just like grabbed me, and then like I was gonna just take her down the ground and I hit her, and Garrett just kind of like pulled me off of her, and that was the end of it. She got one hit and punched me in the eye.
Okay. And what happened after that?
They left, and I was there with Jasmine.
No one else was in the home? Okay. I appreciate you being truthful up to that point, but you're not being truthful after that point. I have a lot of guys out working with me right now. We've talked to a lot of people, and there's a lot more that happened inside that trailer than you're wanting to let me know. But what you don't understand is we've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people have told us the truth because they're sorry for what happened. I would highly suggest you reconsider what you're telling us, because right now, you're the only one that's saying nothing happened there. But you were there. Do you get what I'm saying? Either you're a witness or you're a suspect. We've talked to a lot of people. So let's start telling the truth. So tell me what really happened. Ashley, witness or a suspect?
I know.
We don't know. We don't ask a question that we don't know the answer to. It would be pointless. We would circle in freaking hours and we'd never get nowhere. I'm coming with you with questions I already know the answers to. So either you're going to support me and help me and be a witness, or you're going to give me this line of crap. As a suspect, you're involved. So what's it going to be? You're going to help or spend a very long time in prison? Then you better start being truthful. That's all I want's the truth. So what?
This isn't shoplifting, okay?
This is a very serious matter. You've seen the press releases, okay? We've seen things we wish we didn't see. And you're in the middle of it. I would suggest that we are your only hope. I would suggest you take us up on that. So let's start being truthful. It was all there because there's more people there.
There was one other girl there.
That's what I'm saying. I know the answers, so quit making me drag the answers out of you. Be honest with me. So the stuff is true up to the point you get into the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I'm still gauging you.
No, like all of it's true.
Who else was in the trailer?
Teresa.
Right. Okay. And what's the last name?
Beckley.
Right. Okay? Now tell me what happened. You guys started getting into it and something happened to Nicole.
Garrett separated us and he didn't let her go.
And what?
And he didn't let her go.
Right. Tell me what he did. If it was an accident, it was an accident.
I mean,
If it was premeditated, then I need to know that.
he had her, I don't know, he had her in like a headlock and he just didn't let her go.
Right. And did she fall to the ground?
Yeah.
Let's just a quick second. Once upon a time, happily ever after, everything that happened, all right? Everything that happened. This is life or death.
I know.
It's already death for one person. It's life for the others. You look like a good person to me, okay? I can tell. Just by listening, you're a good person, okay? Good people do the right thing. And you're getting one opportunity to do the right thing. Stop answering what he's asking as he asked it. I want you to just tell us, from the time you guys got to that trailer, the whole story until the time you ended up right here. And without us having to give it to you and you say yes, tell us what happened. And please tell us truthfully, because
No, I'm pretty sure I was gonna be next. Like, I didn't have any contact with anybody after that. I didn't even have a phone.
Start from the beginning when she walked in a trailer and take it step by step.
please.
We'll even stand up and you tell us how it happened, but you need to be truthful. Just please, just talk about it. You'll feel a lot better. I can imagine what you feel like walking around every day with that on your conscience. And we're here sitting, allowing you to let that go. So just tell us.
Everyone is scrambling to save their own life.
I understand.
Save yours.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. I can't even
All
imagine.
I'm doing is crying.
No, I can't imagine what it's like to have that on your shoulders. But we are sitting here next to you, allowing you to let that burden go. You just gotta say, just the truth.
We're going to shut up and let you talk, okay?
Do I have to start back at the beginning or where?
Yeah, please do that.
Okay, so Kyle dropped us off, and then Garrett left the next morning. And he showed back up with her. And we got into it. Garrett didn't let her go. And then he, wrapped her up and taped some plastic and took her somewhere. He was gone for hours and hours. And then he came back. And I haven't even told anybody or talked to anybody about it, any of it. I've cried so much. It's scary. And he took me to one of his friend's house, and I fell asleep then. When I woke up, it was to get in the car because we were going down south to another one of his friend's house, and just that he was being real sneaky and just like his actions and things that I would catch him saying, I didn't feel safe. I wasn't allowed on my phone. He was on my Facebook sending messages, so everybody would think like it was just me. I finally was able to send one to my grandma to tell my son I loved him. And the whole time he was with his friends, like, every time, like, I get a chance, I would say something, and he just thought I was batshit crazy. That I was making it up, you know, wanted attention or something. And I really felt like Garrett was going to kill me. And it wasn't until, like, I hadn't sat down and watched 11 o'clock news in years. Sunday night, when I sat down and the news came on and I seen that there was a body in Newton County, like, I just knew it was going to be bad. And that's when his friends finally realized that I wasn't making shit up. And he made Garrett leave. Like, I thought he was really going to hurt Garrett, but he just let him walk. And I hadn't really slept much. I still haven't really slept much. So I finally fell asleep and I slept all day. And then I finally made it back here at like 4:30 in the morning is when I was able to get me back to Lafayette. And by the time I got back and I was able to feel safe, I slept all day yesterday and my phone doesn't call out, like my speakers broke. So that's why I haven't been able to get hold of anybody. I was literally on my way to Newton County, like to go to the sheriff's department to talk to you guys.
So you said a friend, you thought the friend was gonna beat Garrett up?
I mean, like, yeah, he was mad. He was mad because he knew, like, the things that I had been saying, because I wasn't trying to let Garrett know that, like, I thought he was going to kill me, because that sounds like anybody to be with somebody and think, well, he's setting that up. Like, that sounds like I'm paranoid. I'm just crazy.
So what was he doing to make you feel that way?
I don't know, like, he was just being real sneaky about things, and the way he was treating me was just very mean, like, and he would say, I like make side comments about, you know, making me disappear or setting me up, and it was just the things that he said, and I don't know, he was very secretive when he was on his phone, and like I felt like he was very like hiding something from me.
Who was the friend?
Jeffrey Sneeze.
Jeffrey Sneed?
Sneeze.
Sneath?
Mm-hmm.
From what town?
It has a weird name. It's like up down with Breastville.
Down where?
It's on the other side of Breastville.
Down Carpenterville?
Mm-hmm. And when I woke up, and Garrett had been trying to get a hold of me all day, and Jeff wasn't gonna wake me up because I cried myself to sleep. He knew I hadn't slept, and so he let me sleep. And then by the time I got up, I'm guessing Garrett was, or I just found out Garrett was in jail yesterday, like last night. Sorry, excuse me. So I hadn't heard from him, and I just wanted to make sure he was okay. And so I got on his Facebook, and I screenshotted the messages, and I seen, like, Jeff, like, asking Garrett about it. Like, and he didn't directly say that he did it, and he didn't indirectly say that he didn't do it. But I saved all those messages for you, like.
We need to talk about some of the details, okay? You said he grabbed her inside the trailer and didn't let go. How did he grab her?
Like, behind.
Okay. Here. So this is her, and I'm Garrett. From behind, like what?
Like, with his arm around her, what, like this?
Like this?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what do you do with that?
Yeah.
I mean, he grabbed her, and then, I mean, you're saying he didn't let go. I mean, was he putting pressure? What was he doing?
He was, like, choking her out.
Okay. And what happened when he choked her out?
she kind of just fell to the floor.
What was she doing? Did she try to gasp for air?
I don't know.
Was she trying to scream?
I mean, yeah, kinda. I was really just trying not to pay attention. Like, I was just...
I mean, was anyone trying to stop Garrett from doing it?
Trying to, I think they were, I was scared. I think they were
I understand. I understand. If someone's doing that in front of me, I mean, I understand that, but I just need to know what everybody was doing when that was happening in front of them. So everybody just kind of froze.
I went to the other room. I was gonna have a panic attack. Cause my stomach just got really tight, and like my chest got heavy, and I almost felt like I couldn't breathe.
Okay, so she fell to the ground, you said. And you said earlier that they wrapped the body up. We need to go from falling to the ground to wrapping the body up. We need to know how that exactly happened and who had what part and what.
I'm not sure. I mean, it was pretty much all Garrett. Like, I mean, it was all Garrett. Like,
Were you in there? I mean, did you watch him do it?
I didn't want, no. He asked me to stand there, and I wasn't, like, I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to see it. Like, I just kind of stood there, like, looking away.
So who was in the same room with him when they were going to wrap her body up? Who was in there with him?
He was with himself by most of the time. I went and...
Anytime. At any point in time, was anyone else in that room? Were you in there? And I just need to know the truth. I just need to know what parts were you in there in that room so I know that you're saying the truth.
When she fell to the ground, I was in there, and then he, like, was, like, trying to demand one of us to help him, and I walked back in there, and I kind of just stood there and looked at the ground, and he like, yelled at me to help him, and I didn't, so I went back into the other room, and I laid on the ground, and I did Pilates, like, 'cause that's how I, like, wanted my muscles to calm down, like, I laid on the ground and did Pilates.
So when you say he wanted one of us to help him, who is us?
Lisa and Jasmine was the only ones there.
No guys?
No.
No other guys?
No. There wasn't any other guys, it was just us girls.
So when you didn't help him, who did?
Nobody did. He did it himself.
And so when you came back out, what did you see? That you're saying he did himself.
Her on the
I mean,
floor.
what did you see?
Her on the floor with tape around her mouth.
Okay, just her body with tape around her mouth. Do you know what type of tape? Okay, what else did you see?
And I just seen the tape and trash bags, and like, I don't remember how he had wrapped her up. I'm really trying to think, but I really tried not to look at it.
I just want you to tell the truth. What was up with the trash bag? Where was the trash bag?
I think he put it on her head, but I don't remember.
Okay. What else did you see?
Let me see.
You said earlier that she was rolled up. What does that mean?
I think, and trash bag, or I think it was a trash bag. I think he just put it around her. I'm not even sure. I'm really trying to remember, but I was still really all not there. And I really wanted to be absent-minded of even being there.
Who else seen her laying there like that? Did Talitha and Jasmine come out?
Yeah.
And what did they say to him? What did he say to them?
Nobody really said anything. Nothing at all.
So how did she? What happened after that?
I drug her outside and left with her.
Okay, and how did he take her outside?
He drug her on the floor.
Do you know if he drug her by what part of her body?
No idea.
Okay, and what door did he take her out of?
The the back door, there's only one door to go out of.
Okay, so if this is the trailer, right? This is you're coming in. Okay, you're coming into the trailer park. Have you ever walked up that?
No,
Okay, how do you normally walk into the trailer?
around to the back, like, there's another door on the other side of the porch.
Okay.
And I mean, that's the only way I've ever been in there.
And so when you walk in, what are you actually walking into?
Bedroom, I don't know what it would be called.
Is it a finished area, unfinished?
It's kind of unfinished.
Okay, so you're saying how did he take her out of the house to get to that door?
And then, like, you walk around, like, when you go in the door, you gotta, like, walk around the end of the trailer, because it's kind of, like, added on. I think.
Okay.
And there's a ramp. I think it's a ramp. Maybe it's not even a ramp. There's so much stuff in there, so I really don't know. And then you gotta go up steps, and you kind of turn to go in the floor, like, it's all, there's just a turn.
Okay, what time was that?
Well, it wasn't very long after the year.
You know, what time did he drag her out?
I don't know.
Please think.
I really don't know.
Before midnight or after midnight?
Maybe before, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay, so you're saying he drug her out through that back door of like the add-on addition area? And where did he go from there? I mean, what did he do once he got to that door?
I don't know. I didn't go outside.
So you don't know how he left with Nicole? You don't know?
I don't know.
What time? How long was he gone?
Hours. I have it on my phone.
And we'll get that, and we'll maybe look at that. I mean, just your best guess, how long?
5 hours. He was gone the rest of the night and into the morning.
Okay. Do you know about what time do you return in the
Yeah.
daylight, nighttime still?
It was morning. I was right outside. 8 o'clock. Maybe. I have a message where he says I'm on my way.
On my way.
Like on his way to Jasmine.
So you inferred that message meant on his way back?
Yeah.
When did he pull up in?
A car, what'd you call it?
Well, I'm asking you.
I don't
There's
know what
There's a lot of cars in and out of
What,
that
what
place.
color was it?
A light color.
Like white?
Blue silver. I'm not sure.
Okay, who was he with?
Chris. I think his name. Morris.
What's he look like?
He's got tattoos all over.
Short, tall?
Yeah, he's short.
What color's his hair? Blonde.
Okay, what did he do at that point?
He was very, very mean to me, and I spent all that time that he was, that he left, and all that time that when he got back, that we was there, I was pretty much in the bedroom by myself crying, nobody had said anything about it, nobody had asked me if I was okay, nobody had anything, and he was being downright mean. Downright mean.
What was he saying to you?
When I was crying, he told me I was a crybaby, and he didn't have time for that shit, and he was just being very, very cold towards me. He made me feel like I was scum. He had been treating me like dirt.
Had he made any threats to you?
I mean, yeah. just that, he wasn't scared to make me, he told me that often, that he wasn't scared to just make me disappear, or that when he's had the chance, he should have just taken me out, and, like, because he had premeditated, like, tried to kill me a few months ago, and, like, he was on bond for that, and
What did he do?
choking me, strangling me.
The same way that he did her? Did he do anything else to you?
He had me tied up, like, my hands behind my back. I was tied up for 2 hours. And the reason why I was able to get away is because my friend felt like there was something bad, and he drove by and later in the morning, so Garrett let go.
So he tied your hands behind your back?
Mm-hmm.
What else did he do?
And tied my ankles.
Did he do anything else?
He beat me around. He hit me a few times. Like, I was pretty beat up.
Is that why you're reluctant to talk to us today? Do you think that if he gets out, he's going to come do something to you?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm scared, yeah.
Do you know if he's ever done this to anyone else before? Besides you?
I think so.
I get it. You got some stuff. So what, I know it's tough. I get it. What room exactly did he choke her out in?
The kitchen, living room, in between.
Kind of all one room there?
Yeah.
Did you know that he killed her?
I mean, I'm pretty smart. I'm not stupid.
I know that.
I just didn't want. I kept telling myself, like, I didn't want to, like, believe, like I'm too in tune with reality. Like, sometimes I wish I was fucking crazy because I didn't want to believe it. I just tried not to think about it. And it's really been messing with my head, and I haven't been able to talk to anybody about it.
What did you think would happen to you if you told anybody about it?
I just thought it was gonna come after me. That's more or less like after I woke up after Jeffrey made him leave, like more or less like why I wanted to know where he was at. Because I didn't know who I could trust and who I couldn't.
So you said there was a kid named Chris? So tell me more about Chris.
I don't really know much about him. He's Garrett's friend.
But he came back with Garrett that morning?
Yeah.
Okay, was he at the trailer that night at all?
No.
Did they talk about anything around you? About anything they have done, after he left?
No.
Chris didn't try to talk to you about anything?
I don't think he really liked me.
No.
He didn't really ever say anything to me, and when he did, he was very snooty and short about it. Like, I don't.
Had you known Chris before he came back with Garrett that day? Had you ever seen Chris around before?
Just then, the night that Wednesday night, he was there, and he had left before we woke up.
That's why I was checking your code. We're gonna take a quick break and see about
Can I go smoke a cigarette?
Can we just wait a few more minutes,
Yeah.
please? We're trying to get
You're fine.
through, so we're not staying here too long. But yeah, I'll be right back in. You're doing great, though. Okay.
While we're out, I know you've been thinking about it since it happened, but think about it and think about any details that you can give us, okay? Honestly. And just tell us. I mean, it's not gonna surprise us. You know, were you in fear of your life?
Yeah.
I get that, okay? I get that you're still there, all right? But we can help you, okay?
I don't know, he was, had it all laid out to where,
Sorry about that.
Okay, so I'm really interested in what happened to you before, okay? So where were you when that happened?
He had been threatening me, like the night before I had to go, and I had done some work for my friend and to pay rent, and he had, I don't know, he was acting a little weird and had been threatening me. And when my friend picked him up, he had seen it, like seen him acting weird, and he said it was like the devil had taken over, his eyes went completely black, like, and it wasn't like he believed every word that he was saying so bad that my friend refused to take me home, and I had to pretty much like all on to the next day, like convince him, like I'm fine, he's not there, like there's no way for him to get in my house is locked up. Yeah, at least I need to go home and shower and change my clothes. Drop me off, come back and get me. And that's what he had intended on doing. So when I walked in, I locked the door and walked in, didn't think nobody was there. Went to the bathroom, like we had two bathrooms, I went to the front bathroom, went to the bathroom, I took off my pants and went back to my room, which had the other bathroom where I was gonna shower. I got to my room, flipped on the light, and he came around the corner. He had it all laid out to where what he used to like tie me up with, like he took me off guard. Like that's the only reason why he was like, pretty much evil, just snatched me up that way. And he tied my hands behind my back, my feet. I had found a stall in the bathroom and like I don't remember exactly what it all was, but he had intended on killing me and cutting me up. And he had me tied up. He had turned the music up so loud so that nobody could hear me scream. When I finally was able to get the tape off the tape off that was across my mouth.
So you had tape across your mouth?
Yeah, I had like a little bad, like it was like a rug burn just right here on my face from where I had gotten it wet to get it to unstick, and it just left a bad rash. He drug me across through the house and by my feet, had hit me several times, choked me out until like I wasn't breathing, and then I'd wake back up to do it all again. He did it several times until my friend drove by, and like I was tied up for 2 hours.
So I mean, he choked you unconscious. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, he did. And
would it kind of be the same way that he choked her unconscious?
I mean,
So while he was doing all this, what was he saying to you?
didn't really say much. Told me to shut up, call me names.
What were you doing? What were you trying to do?
I was trying every chance that I could get my mouth covered, I'd scream help. And I even like his grandma came and picked him up. He had, I don't know, somehow contacted her and told her to come get him. And like I went out the door at the same time, like when he went to leave with his grandma, I went out the door with him still with this, like I had gotten my feet untied, like my hands, like I was still pulling like the things off my wrist when I was running out the door, like call 911, yell help, and his grandma just sped out the driveway and took off.
So you didn't know that he was in the house when you
No.
went in there? He was hiding in there?
Yep. And he broke into his front window.
So he choked you.
He
tied you up, hands behind your back, tied up your feet, put tape over your mouth,
Yep.
drug you around the house.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashley, on the, I'm going to kind of go back to, remember how we were talking about some of the details inside the home? Sorry for bouncing around a little bit, but just trying to make sure I understand everything. So when you were in the home and you started getting that altercation, at any point did you grab Nicole?
Grab Nicole?
Yeah.
No. Oh, no.
I mean, I understand if you did. I mean,
Like,
if I'm
I'm really trying to think of how it went, like, and like I said, she's taller than me, so like when I went up to hit her, she kind of just like, I didn't make a full contact hit with her, and then she hit me, and we, like, she had a hold of me as I had a hold of her, and Garrett broke us up before anything, before.
like, how are you saying you had a hold of her and she had a hold of you? Like front to front, you had how? Just how?
Kind of sideways, cause I was, my intentions were, I was just gonna, I was gonna take it down and start wailing at her, but I didn't get that far, cause Garrett pulled her off.
Okay, did you have your arm? Where were your arms in terms of how were you locked up with her when you say you were gonna try to throw her down? How?
I'm really trying to think of how. She had a hold of my hair. I think our arms are like her shorter, cause I know I didn't have my arms around her, it wasn't around her head, like her neck or her head. I want to say it was her arms, like on her arm.
I understand if you guys are fighting or
Like it
wrestling.
really happened so fast. Like he pulled her off so fast.
Okay, so you don't believe that your arm was around her head at any point in time? I mean, I understand if it was a fight or a scuffle. I'm just trying to figure that out.
It's human nature to try to control the head when you're in a fight.
Right? No, I didn't have a chance to get to her head. Like I didn't have a chance to grab her, like to get that close to her, because she was fighting back.
Sure she was. I mean, I've looked at her Facebook. I think she thinks she's a hard ass. Right? She thinks she's hard. Right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really know her.
You don't know her, but I mean, she's hanging out with your boyfriend.
Yeah.
So I mean, you obviously, if
Man,
Detective Rowe was hanging out with my wife and I knew it, I'm gonna start looking into him to see what he's about, right?
Right. And like that day, like we even there was a message or a call or something where I had said something, like she had said something about, well, come on here, let's get out in the front yard, and I was like, no, like I want to go have some tea. Like I was being nice about, I didn't threaten her. I wasn't mean to her.
That obviously doesn't work though, right? So you guys ended up in a fight and you're pissed. And she's pissed.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And you're fighting over the same prize. So you get in a fight, right? So you get in a fight.
And I didn't even it really didn't even get a fight, Garrett took over, I don't even want to say take over because I don't even know how that was. It all happened so fast.
Now I know that it happened fast. And I'm going to tell you that when it happened to you, it happened fast too. But it didn't feel fast, right? It felt like it lasted forever. You can remember everything that happened that night, right? Because it's so vivid in your mind because it was so traumatic to you. I'm going to tell you that what you saw in Jasmine's trailer was very traumatic too, okay? And you saw it happen, and you know exactly what happened. And you can tell us exactly what happened, but you're trying to block it out from your mind so that you don't have to relive it. But actually, you need to relive that right now, and you need to tell us everything that happened. Because like Detective Rowe said, other people are talking to us. And obviously he's asking where your arm was at, right? And he's asking that for a reason.
Yeah.
He's asking that for a reason. You understand, right? Because obviously at some point in this story, we believe that your arm was around her neck. Okay? So you need to tell us what happened. I'm not sitting here saying that you killed her.
Yeah.
But if you were in a fight prior to anything else happening, and whatever the details are very important. When we walked in here, we said be very honest. You are being honest on what you're telling us, but there is so much more. And I know that you know that. And I've told you, I think you're a good person, and I'm trying to stick with that theory. But I need you to spill it, okay? Everything. There's a lot more that happened to that girl, and you saw it happen. Now tell us what you saw, please.
I don't know. I didn't see anything else. I didn't see him do anything. I don't know.
He was asking for help, right? He was asking for help to do things.
Yeah.
What was he doing that he needed help with?
I was tying her up. I'm not sure. And that's why he was getting so mad at me because I was just standing there like I was stupid. Like I didn't know.
Right, I get it. Did he tie her up?
I think he did. I can't remember, but I think he did.
Did he use any tape like he used on you?
Yeah, he had tape. He had got tape.
Where did he put it?
I don't know. Around, I want to say like around her face or her mouth or her head or something. I'm not sure.
Was the bag over her head? You said that he put a bag over her head, or you thought he did. Do you know if he taped the bag around her head? What did he do?
I think so.
Where did he get the tape in a bag from?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Did he put anything else across the body, or around the body, or over the body? Please think. I want to believe you.
Rope or maybe I'm really not sure.
I'm sorry, I'm getting a rope or a cord?
Maybe.
What do you think it looked like? Did it look like a rope or a cord?
I mean, I feel like a cord would be more plausible for something to just grab.
Where would he have grabbed that cord from? Just asking.
No,
Did you see where he grabbed it from?
No.
And where did he put that on the body? What did he do with it?
Maybe around her neck too.
Actually, did you see him put a cord around her neck?
No, but it feels like if me telling you that feels like that's what happened. Like I don't really recall. Like I don't recall him doing it, but I feel like that's the right thing. But
We just want you to just be truthful. I don't want you assuming anything.
okay.
Okay, that's why we're asking you, what did you see? Did you see a cord around her neck, or did you see him put a cord around her neck?
I seen something else around her neck. I'm just not 100% sure if that's what it was. I'm not sure.
I'm going to dig in just a little close right here, okay? I'm here to tell you right now that you're safe, okay? There is nobody here that is going to hurt you, okay? You say Garrett's in jail, right?
I think. I'm not sure. That's what I was told.
Nobody is going to hurt you here. We are here to help you. We are here to make sure that no other women, like this young lady or yourself, go through what you went through, okay? So if you know, I know you don't want to remember, but if you know, just tell us you know, okay? We know, okay? Please. We're not just, you could be saving people's lives, honestly. So, like I said, did you see him put something around her neck?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
And you think it was what?
I think it was the cord.
Cord?
I know Dresden had like one that had phone charger plugged in, that was right there beside the couch. Nobody got anything for him, so I don't know. I don't know where he
So
got it.
he went and got whatever he used for himself, by himself?
Yeah.
Can you think of anything else that's important that you think we should know?
So, I know he has, yeah, I'm sure it's still there, he has a big bruise right there on his arm.
From what?
I'm guessing that it would have been from the pressure on his arm, of how tight he had it around her neck.
So you said he had her like this, like Detective Roadshow, and was just had her in a chokehold?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying his left arm?
I mean, I don't know which arm it was, but it was like right here on his arm.
But do you remember what arm he put around her neck?
No. Might have been his left arm. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I think it's whatever arm he doesn't have the tattoos on.
So when you were fighting with her, you didn't try it. I mean, you were trying to take her down, right? So you don't remember if your arm got up around her anywhere?
No, if anything, it would have been more or less like over the back of her like this.
The back of her, like so if I'm fighting, and I'm obviously if you're gonna throw somebody down,
That was
I'm
standing
gonna come
like
up like this and
to
try to
this
bring
side
them
of
up this way, right?
Right.
So do you think your arms were like this?
Kinda, but
Or
it
was it
never.
one arm
It was one.
like this?
Yeah. Because my other arm was kind of like flailing it because I was gonna hit her.
Right.
And then plus like I was trying to like to defend myself at the same time because she was coming at me.
Sure. So you may have had her around the neck, but not in a chokehold.
No.
What did Garrett say when he came back? I know you said he came back with that other kid. What did he say?
The way he was talking to me was way different than he was talking to everybody else. Like when he talked to Felicia, he was like, very soft and sweet spoken, but when he talked to me, it was just a very hateful tone. And that's why I kept saying, like, please don't talk to me like that. Like, don't talk to me that way. I'm not, and I'm, like, if he would try to tell me to do something, like, he would talk at me. Like, he wasn't talking to me, he was talking at me.
Did he say anything or give any details on what he just done? You say he drug Cole's body out through the back door, okay?
Right.
And then he came back. Did he say what he did when he was gone? He didn't say anything about that. Just
No, like I haven't, like I just didn't hear him talk about it. Like, I didn't say anything about it. If I tried to say like, he would tell me like to stop looking so miserable or quit whining. And I was such a whine ass, like, and I still hadn't, like, up until I got back and was telling somebody like, I think you need to go talk to somebody. Like, I hadn't talked to anybody about it. Not one person about any of it.
Is it normal for him to talk down to you? Does he usually treat you bad?
Not really. No. Not up until like the last few days I was with him. And I really feel that my heart like he was going to kill me, and I just caught on because of what he thought it was going to.
Ashley, has he done this to somebody else before?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You've been with him for a while, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've seen sides of him that a lot of people haven't. I think he would feel trusted in you
I have no idea.
if he's done something.
Not to my knowledge, I don't know that he's done anything. He's got, well, I don't want to say like a double life, but he's got another side to him that he's very secretive about things, and
Like what? I mean, what
I
side
mean,
of his
like,
life?
like he likes guys,
So
and he thinks I know, or I don't know things, like, I mean, if that's his preference or whatever, like, that's on him. Like, he kind of finally admitted to me, a couple months ago, because I kept catching him on, like, a gay chat site, or just things that, like, kind of just threw me off, that wasn't, it was not normal.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I brought something up, he'd hit me, or he'd talk down to me, or he'd turn whatever, I was trying to ask about into a bigger proportion of what it is, and make me, like, he would play the victim of something. Like, he didn't have any self-accountability for anything he did, and all his actions are because of somebody else. But he didn't let me go most places with him. Like, if he went somewhere, I usually wasn't with him.
So you think he was bisexual?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay. Had anyone ever done anything to him that would make him act out?
I don't think so, but he said that when he was younger, this guy had molested him, and that's the way why he liked, I don't know, he has a fascination with men or something. He didn't really want to talk about it. So I never really brought it up. Like, I've been having a hard time, like, knowing, like, that that I needed to get away from him, and for some reason, I couldn't. He would ensure that I couldn't, or he would stalk me, or he would just make it show up at wherever I was, like, make sure, like, my friends were, for him. Like, that's just more, like, I barely talk to my family. I don't have any friends left, really. So I've just been hanging in there, waiting until I could get away from him. I really think if it wasn't for Jeff making him me keeping me there. Like if I would have left with him when his buddy came and got him, I don't think I would still be here. I really feel like this, like, I was gonna say my God, like that's the God honest truth. It's really been fucking with my head, like I'm not really okay.
It's a lot to take in. Is there anything else? There's oftentimes we may lose track when we're talking, you know. Is there anything else before or after, or anything else that he's been involved in that we haven't asked about that you really need to let us know about?
I don't think so.
Any other crimes he's been involved in that's gonna pop up on our investigation? Just to get ahead of it, just let us know. So we're not having.
Besides him stealing from people, I don't know, I don't know what he's taken from him, but I know he's got the thing for him and his buddies going, taking stuff. I don't ever see anything. I just know like he's usually got money.
So he's going out turning a lick to make some money? Is that what he's doing?
Right.
Where do you think he's taking that stuff from?
I know he's stolen from his grandparents numerous times. He's stolen stuff from me. I'm not sure. That's one thing I know about.
You said that you're not okay, so I mean, you just met us today, right? But if there's anything that you think you can tell us that can help you be okay,
No, it's
more willing to listen.
talking about it. That's all. That's what I needed to do is tell somebody. I mean, I'm metaphorically like I'm not okay. It's not all be okay.
Alright. I hope so.
I just caught in my own head, like I don't know how. Like me being scared is a weird feeling for me because I'm not intimidated by much. And I don't know, it's changed me kind of like can't sleep. I haven't talked much. I haven't wanted to do anything. I'm just gonna sit there and just stare off in space. Concentration's not all there. It's just different having feelings that I'm not used to having. Really alone, like I feel really alone.
Well, hopefully we've made a couple of steps today to help you get back. Just real quick, Ashley, what was Nicole wearing?
Is it a shirt?
Shoes?
I don't know what kind of shoes. I have no idea.
Was any of her clothing left there after they took her out?
She had all the clothing on.
Shoes, coat, anything?
I don't think so.
Do you think she was still fully clothed?
Yeah. She, last time I seen her, she had all of her clothes on.
And footwear though.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to hang out for just a few more minutes, okay? We gotta go talk to a couple people, and then we'll be back, and hopefully we'll be done, okay? Okay, so it's about an hour north of here.
Or what?
Okay, well, we gotta go up there and see where we're at with the prosecutor's office and all that stuff, so, in terms of what we're gonna do from this point forward. Okay, do you got anything in your pockets at all?
Oh, a lighter. Can I smoke my last cigarette?
We probably came downstairs, not
Well,
here,
so
but,
obviously-
yeah, anything you have, can you empty your pockets and lay it right here real quick? Before you throw it away, what is it?
A cigarette butt.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, and I dropped my lighter outside, so I don't have nothing.
Can you pull your pockets up for me? Okay.
This one's heavy.
Okay. And you just want to throw that soda away? Are you done? You just want to take a last drink or something?
I don't know, but it is not looking good.
It's okay. Just set it in there. All right. Thank you.
Amy, if you're talking, you're muted.
I was talking. No, I was muted. So I said that's her first interrogation video. Which hold on, let me put this up here really quick. Yes, Melvs, yes, she was. You're absolutely right. She was charged with assisting a criminal just like Jasmine, Talitha, and Chris. And I mean, you can agree to disagree with that, but if you're being held against your will and you're taken 2 hours away to someone's home that you don't know, and that person has to put a gun to Garrett's head to get him to leave so Ashley could get away from him, I think in all truth, there would be a debate there. I believe that you are a relative of Nicole, so I sympathize with you, and you are absolutely entitled to your opinion. But assisting a criminal is when someone goes out of their way to help someone, and by not calling the police, that's what the charges were for. In this case, for Jasmine, Talitha, and Chris, and Ashley. but I beg to differ in Ashley's case that she had a choice. So, but again, I mean, I respect her opinion. But I was saying that that was her first interrogation video. Her second one is even more traumatic, extremely more traumatic, I think, is putting it lightly. Yes, yeah, you're right. She wasn't charged with murder until the DNA came back, which we're going to absolutely get into that. Not tonight, but I have a lot of information about that and a lot of details about where her DNA wasn't found. And Garrett was playing 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Let me list all of these things, and out of the things that he listed, a couple stuck, which are explainable, very explainable in this situation. So, okay, hi Cheryl. Well, you changed your name on YouTube then. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were her mom. Because you did used to be on here as Cheryl. Well, we're going to get into this presentation because Garrett had claimed that the bruises on his arm were done by Ashley. Ashley claimed in that interrogation video that Garrett put Nicole in a chokehold and didn't let her go. And these photos are taken on April 4th. So that is 28, 29, 30, 31, 30, 5 days after this happened. That's a pretty big bruise on his it's like on the crevice of his elbow and forearm, which is where Ashley claimed that part of his arm was around Nicole's neck, where he put so much pressure on her that he took her life. So I just wanted to show those really quick because in Garrett's next interview that we'll get into, you'll see Detective Rowe come in and actually take these photos. And that's on his left forearm. This is on his right arm. This bruise right here, which I would assume that it's possibly maybe a tooth mark. This wound right here in the middle of his tattoo, Garrett also said Ashley did. And this all plays into going along with what Jasmine says, that Garrett was extremely exhausted, more exhausted than he would have been after running full speed in a race. So I'm just showing these. The other interrogations, they don't mention it Ashley at all. No, they don't. Jasmine doesn't mention her. Garrett doesn't mention her at all. And then this is a close-up of his left arm again with the bruise. And so I'll leave it up to you guys to decide what you think. His version versus Ashley's version and what his arm was doing and where his arm was. These photos were taken obviously for a reason. And I just wanted to show those. So let's talk about it. What is everyone's thoughts on after watching Ashley's interview?
I'll go first.
I know I always forget to unmute myself.
That's okay. Well, I feel like Ashley, I feel like she saw something. I mean, obviously she saw something. I don't feel like um, I don't feel like Of course, she was lying in the beginning. That's obvious. Um, I feel like the lies were, she wasn't sure that Garrett was in jail at that point. She heard he was, but she wasn't sure about it. She wasn't sure of it. Um, I think that I feel really apprehensive. The last thing that I want to do is offend Nicole's mom and any other family members of hers that are in the chat that are watching this. Because as I said from the very first time I went live with you, this is about, there is in no way, shape, or form anything that I say or think or anything is meant in a disrespectful way to Nicole. She lost her life and it was heinous. It was horrific what was done to her. There is just no, I'm a mother. I'm a mom. I have 5 sons and 1 daughter. And well, I've lost one of my sons, my youngest son, but I understand. I don't understand because with the son that I lost, his life wasn't taken from him in the same way that Nicole's life was taken. And I absolutely mean no disrespect when I say what I'm going to say. I feel like Ashley lied in the beginning. She was not 100% certain that Garrett was in jail. She had heard a rumor that he was. I think Ashley is a victim of domestic violence, but I don't think she realizes that she's a victim herself. I don't think she knows, at least from what I can hear in that interrogation video. She doesn't sound like someone who understands that she's a victim of domestic violence.
Yeah, and the way that she just the way that she literally described what transpired at her house and then is asked, "Does he normally treat you bad?" And she said, "No." That is an absolute common theme with someone who has just been, I don't wanna say programmed, but has come so, that type of living with someone and that type of treatment becomes normal to them.
He
So they're not
probably
necessarily right.
feel like she
Hmm?
deserved it. I wouldn't be surprised if he made her feel like she deserved it. You know, it was all her fault that she got that treatment. I
Yes.
mean, that's what I've seen in other relationships
Yeah.
like that.
And I guess, I mean, just to give a little bit more insight because we haven't truly got this far yet. But what people don't realize is that, well, Delphi is a very small community. And this crowd, this like Jasmine and Talitha and Chris, they weren't Ashley's crowd. She had never met Jasmine or Chris before to be able to have any amount of time to gauge, you know, whose side they were really on. To her, this was a incident that came out of nowhere that she was put in the middle of. And but Jason Palladino, for those of you who have followed this case, you know the reputation of the Palladinos. And they all live right there amongst Delphi. And that day after this happened, Garrett made Ashley get in the back seat of Nicole's car to take Talitha home. They made a pit stop. We'll get into that pit stop later. But when they get to Jason Palladino's home, he comes out and is literally going off and threatening Garrett and fires a gun at Garrett. Ashley, at that moment, thought that Jason Palladino was pissed that Garrett hadn't finished the job by also getting rid of Ashley. That was her mindset at that point in time. And I think through the research that I've done and all of the things that I've found and the people that I've talked to, I'm not for certain that that was the reason that that transpired. I have a different philosophy as to what that possibly could have been about. But in her mind, whether or not only was Garrett in jail at this time, it was all of the people that she possibly had to worry about watching her ass about. And Talitha was right up there at the top of the chain. And Talitha is no joke. Talitha has been around the block. She's been in and out of prison. And Talitha did not like Ashley. And what's peculiar is that I don't believe that Talitha really liked Nicole either, even though Nicole had been staying over there with her and Jason. But the fact of the matter is Garrett and Talitha had a thing going on behind everybody's back. And again, I'm trying to stay in chronological order here and get through these interrogation videos as they happen so you can see what one person said versus the next and what the interrogators knew. Like, you know, them asking her, there wasn't another guy there because they had literally spent 2.5 hours with Garrett where he gave this full blown account of Chris Mathis doing um, to Nicole what Garrett claimed he did. Now, I will tell you this, that Ashley says that Garrett's interrogation video, that first one, where he describes what Chris Mathis did, is she said the closest to the truth Garrett has ever told, and that it was because he was basically reliving what he had done himself and was just describing it in third person form. So that's why Garrett was able to so readily and willingly reaccount those events. But instead of saying I did it, he said Chris did it. So, but there was a lot going on behind the scenes in this situation that we haven't got to yet. And I promise I would not be on here. Um, yeah, that's what Talitha. Yeah, well, I Talitha is right up there next to Garrett as far as I'm concerned. And when we get to her interview and I break everything down for you and show you um, what was really going on and some of the information that I have that I'm going to reveal, I think that you'll believe otherwise. Talitha is a very calculating individual, and she's very good at what she does, including lying to detectives very cool and calmly. And Rhonda, you've seen both sides of what I'm talking about, and I think that you can back me
Yeah.
up here on what I'm describing about her.
Yeah, she's very, how easily she lies is actually frightening. Um, because she lies I mean, we know Garrett lies, but when Garrett lies, you can tell he's lying.
Yeah, he tells you, "This is the last time I'm gonna lie," or "Let me tell you
Yeah,
let
right,
me
yeah,
tell you
besides
let
that.
me tell" right, "Let me tell you this story, and then you tell me if you think I'm lying."
Right, right,
So,
right,
yeah,
right.
Garrett is
Yeah,
not as experienced as Talitha, but if
no.
you go back
But
and go out first of all
Talitha's, oh, I just got chills. Listening to Talitha was truly uncomfortable because it was just creepy how easily I felt like she was lying.
uh, well, and then when you see the stuff that I have, the documentation that I have, and I haven't even gotten into yet for those of you, well, I don't think anybody knows. I have corresponded with Garrett months ago. And I'll gonna tell you straight up and down, Garrett did not know who I was. So he could speak very freely. And I will provide proof of those conversations. I have audio of those conversations and chirp messages, and it's quite telling. And to this day, even he is still lying. He's lying to someone who he doesn't even think has anything to do with investigating this case, and he's still lying. But So, you can pick apart, you can take these interrogation videos and if you sit and you listen to if you take a day, and there's pieces and parts that collaborate with each other. And then there is evidence, and then there is the trial transcripts, and then there is the fact that there's so much that wasn't done in this investigation. For example, Mikey Hiddle. And I have a whole axe to grind with Mikey Hiddle and his retelling of that day. And I do not believe, I'm going to say this right up front, I do not believe that Mikey Hiddle was involved in this situation. But I believe there was something that transpired that day that Mikey felt he needed to hide. And I confronted him on that, and he really kind of bowed out gracefully as far as, well, he really couldn't remember. But um, when you've got when you have the documentation of it, and there's more than one person saying certain things, it doesn't add up. And so we'll get there. It's such It's a lot. It's really a lot, and I wanna tell it the right way and be accurate and truthful, and, um, I'm not doing this to, hurt a victim's family by no means whatsoever, but I think that the wrong person is sitting in prison for something that she did not do, and that needs addressed. And at the same time, I'm going to bring to light who I believe should be in prison, who I believe helped plan this, who I think was a part of this in more ways than one. And I'm just going to say it flat out. Talitha was there for a reason, and she was there for a reason, and that was to make sure that Garrett did what he was supposed to do. And I think the way that Garrett handled it was not what he was told to do. And Jason Palladino didn't like the way Garrett handled it. And I believe that's why Garrett was shot at by Jason the next day. Um, so we will get there. But I do believe, I mean, Ashley really hurt herself by going in there and not being truthful. But, you know, no one's in her shoes. And I know she's been through a lot of therapy. I know now she recognized the fact that she was in a very abusive relationship. But at the time, she didn't see herself that way. And Ashley is a very timid person. I hope that maybe that is conveyed in her video. Like what you see is what you get. She's very soft spoken. She's very timid. She is brought to tears very easily. And I just don't. I don't feel that she would have it in her to to do what Garrett said she did. Um, and I know that everybody has painted her as a monster, and she was never given the proper, she was never given the chance to ever defend herself. She was told by her attorney, do not speak, do not talk. That's something else that we're going to get into. I do have the emails and stuff between her and Lori James. Um, like Chris Mathis, prime example, did not know Ashley, did not have any idea of who she was, what kind of person she was, but sitting in jail listening to Garrett, his opinion that he gave of Ashley on Open Secrets, that came from Garrett. But Ashley was afraid of Chris Mathis too. When Ashley was on bond and Chris Mathis was out on bond, Chris was continuously trying to contact her. And she was forwarding the text messages to Lori James saying, "Hey, I don't know I don't know why he wants to talk to me, but here are his messages." Somebody who is, involved in something like this would not have that type of fear or willingness to, every single move she made to address it with her attorney. It just doesn't add up. But those were the things that were publicly spoken. And Ashley wasn't out there publicly speaking. And, you know, I could literally sit here and dissect every single Open Secrets interview that Garrett gave because I have come at Ashley every which way but Sunday. Like, you need to answer for this, you need to answer for that. And I can sit and go through these Open Secret videos and pretty much have a rebuttal for every single thing that man said about her that wasn't true. He is a master manipulator. He's a spin artist in every which way. And I can't even tell you how many people that he has attempted to throw under the bus about participating in Delphi. I mean, he even said Nicole was involved with Delphi in his first interrogation video. He will say or do anything to alleviate all of the blame being on him. Yeah, he knows he's going to go to prison, but I'm not. I'm not the only one who's a bad person here. That's exactly how he sees things. And we're going to get into the lie detector tests that everyone wants to say Ashley failed horrifically. I'm going to say this: every single hurdle they could put in front of her that she jumped, they would put another one and another one and another one, right down to the point that in the interrogation video, or not interrogation video, but at her lie detector test, the individual who was giving the test got so mad that she wasn't saying what he wanted her to say, that he started yelling at her to the point that Lori James had to walk in and intervene and shut it down. So there's a lot that went on behind the scenes here where people just took a theory and ran with it. And Ashley has taken the brunt of all of that. That doesn't have none of that has anything to do with the real victim in this case, which is Nicole. But secondary in line to that, I believe Nicole or Ashley is also a victim in a different kind of way. So I'm off my soapbox. Go ahead, somebody else.
No, it's your show. It's your case. It's your soapbox. Stay on it as long as you like.
Denise, no, Denise, I am not Open Secrets. Open Secrets is owned by a girl named Sarah, who seems to be no longer utilizing YouTube, but those videos are still online. They're still published online, and I've listened to all of them repeatedly. And Ashley had listened to some of them, and I mean, I even have emails where she had copied the videos and sent them to her attorney. Um, and what's and maybe Cherie, you can answer this since you are an attorney, but there was a motion filed by the judge in this case pre-trial that all of these co-defendants were not to have any contact with each other or discuss the case. How does that correlate to Garrett doing public interviews from jail? Does that not fall under that motion of no contact or no communicating about the case? Because I mean, he's online publicly speaking about the case, and no one files a motion to stop it.
Yeah, I find that unbelievable that that was allowed to happen, and especially for the trial, before any of the trial started. You said it was pre-trial, right?
Yes, it was leading up to the trial.
Yeah,
Let
I'm
me
I'm
see.
shocked that it was allowed to happen. I don't understand. If he seems to get away with a lot of stuff, even though he was in prison, you know.
Right. Yeah, I was just curious about that because it's almost I mean that's literally uh she's being convicted by the public before she even steps in the courtroom. So, I mean, I feel like that had a lot to do. You can't tell me the judge wasn't aware of some of that coverage. The prosecutor certainly took advantage of some of the coverage. And I just wondered if her attorney had the right to have filed a motion to put a stop to it, which she did not.
I
So,
certainly would have if it was my client.
right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking that that should have been able to be, the break should have been put on there. So, but there's a lot that still is yet to come. And I, and to be quite honest, so to just touch base on the DNA real quick. I've said it before, Ashley was left in that trailer for a very long time with just Jasmine. And Um, I've asked Ashley about the scarf, and she knows exactly what scarf I'm talking about, what was talked about. She said the scarf was laying on the end table next to the couch where she slept, where she put her drink, her ashtray, her cigarettes. And, you know, given the opportunity at this point, I said, well, did you touch the scarf? And a liar in her position would say, yeah, I picked it up. I did this. I did that. She says, I don't remember if I touched it. I don't. She goes, I know it was laying there. And then she didn't even remember that, because when I got Garrett's interrogation video and I was listening, and the detectives asked him, you about the scarf. Was there a scarf in the trailer? And Garrett was like, yeah, my girlfriend really liked the scarf. And she asked Jasmine where the scarf came from. And Jasmine said that her kids bought it for her. Well, Garrett being the liar that he is, you really can't always take his word for it. But then you get to Jasmine's interrogation video, and they ask Jasmine where the scarf came from. And she reiterates, my kids got the scarf for me. So that tells me that conversation had to have happened. And I went back again to Ashley and I said, hey, Garrett said that commented how much you like the scarf. I was like, are you sure you didn't pick it up, or hold it up like, oh, this is pretty. Where did you get it? She's like, I don't remember. I don't remember if I touched it or not. But I mean, she's just honest, even when it doesn't help her or hurt her, or even when it does hurt her. I mean, she's honest. That's one thing that I can say about her. She doesn't have a history of being a compulsive liar. She doesn't have a history of being a convicted felon or a repeat habitual offender. She has nothing in her history that says that she's prone to violence or anything of that nature. But when you go through the trial transcripts and they talk about you Jasmine had cleaned the trailer all day, and Ashley said that, yeah, I helped her because I was feeling stupid for even being there. Like, Garrett took her there, then he ups and leaves first thing in the morning, and says he tells her he's going to run to the gas station, then they'll come back by and pick her up and take her home. Well, they leave and he never shows back up. So she said she was there all day. She kind of felt stupid, and this girl's cleaning her house. So she's like, hey, I'll help. So she's like, I don't know if I touched it or not. I don't know if I cleaned off that table. Everything, so much had transpired. Those kinds of events, I don't think anybody would have ever felt the need to remember and calculate every move that you made. After the fact, there was so much overwhelming emotions that and then the fact that she had no idea that her DNA would have been found on that scarf. If Ashley would have picked up the scarf and had done with it what Garrett said that she did, I think that there's a good possibility in her interrogation video, she would have tried to some way, in a roundabout way, explain that, and she didn't. It was not even on her radar that the scarf was ever going to come and play when it came to her. There was no DNA on the cord. Yeah, no, Garrett Kurtz had nothing to do with Delphi. He couldn't keep his mouth shut about Ray. You're right. He told on himself. So if he had anything to do with the girls being murdered, he would have talked about it. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. What he did do, though, was he tried to implicate a lot of other people in different situations. I mean, in his interrogation video, he said that Nicole and this guy named King had something to do with Delphi. On Open Secrets, he claimed Sheena Cottrell and Nick Edwards had something to do or knew of Delphi. To me, in writing, he said that it was Talitha and Jason Palladino involved with Delphi. So he's continuously trying to pass the buck in every which way he can. And it depends on the situation. If he can throw him under the bus in any way, whether it's true or not, he does. And I truly believe that's what he did with Ashley in this case. And the letter that he wrote to Ashley, in that letter, he claimed that he did what he did because he thought Ashley was jealous of Nicole. And this way she wouldn't have to be jealous of Nicole anymore. And not only did he say that, but he follows that up with, and you would have never done anything like this for me. Okay, well, dude, you are implicating her as your, assistant in this, taking of a life. Now you're accusing her of not taking someone's life for you. I mean, you just got to be realistic with all of this and who you're dealing with. And he is not credible at all in any way, shape, or form. He's a liar. He's a compulsive liar. And he wants to point the finger at anybody that he can that takes some of the blame or some of the guilt off of himself. And that's exactly what he did here. And unfortunately, in a full blown trial where people don't know the whole story, and you have an attorney who's, I'm sorry, but Lori James was inexperienced to handle a murder case. And, and she did not do a quarter of what she should have done, just fundamentally as a lawyer to represent a client who's on trial for murder. All of the evidence that I have that was handed over to Lori James, Lori had full access to it. And starting right with Mikey Hiddle's recording when he was in Jasper County on the phone with Garrett, and Garrett is on the phone being recorded saying what he did, not anybody else, but what he did when he thinks he's talking to his buddy on the phone, not that police are listening, he's speaking freely. Lori James could have brought that audio into the courtroom. Whether the judge would have allowed it to be played or not is up, for speculation. But even if it wouldn't have been allowed to be played, it could have been transcribed. And she should have put Mikey Hiddle on the stand. And I truly believe the state did not put him on the stand because he hurt their case. Period. He hurt their case. Jasmine and Talitha were not called as state witnesses because they did not help the state's case. Ashley called Talitha, and conveniently, Talitha had like an episode of amnesia. But you're going to hear in her interrogation video what she says and what she doesn't say. And that's why she was put on the stand. But I guarantee you, by the end of all of this, you're going to see that Garrett and Talitha were in cahoots from day one. So I'm losing track of the chat here. What did she say? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I have watched them a couple times myself, wondered what happened to her. Yeah, I don't know what happened to her. I've attempted to reach out to her because I do believe that she has a lot of audio that she never released. So, oh, really? I did not know that. She's incarcerated for vehicular manslaughter? Thank you, Mama Libra Scales. I was wondering where she was. Oh, well, there it is. That's why she's not on YouTube anymore. Wow. Was that like a DUI situation? Do you know? Mama Scales, I was waiting for you to do you know if is that like a DUI situation? Um, and Denise says, Chris Mathis said things that made me think they had something to do with Delphi. That part has always bothered me. Well, I think that Chris Mathis literally, I mean, I really just think that he likes to run his mouth. And I think that, yes, in the Indiana Department of Corrections. Okay. But Mama, was that for a DUI, the vehicular homicide or manslaughter? Or was she just in a car accident? Okay, from being under the influence. Okay. Yeah, but Chris Mathis said a lot of things during those few little jail calls that he did. Um, and I've actually been in contact with him as well through GTL. And his version now of events is that uh, when he came over to Jasmine's trailer, when he found out what happened to Nicole, he jumped out a window and ran to a friend's house and had that friend take him home, which we all know that's a lie. I mean, these people are still lying. I mean, and even though Ashley, the first few minutes in her interrogation video did lie, she's really the only one who told the truth. Jasmine didn't see anything. Talitha's whole story in her interrogation video is very, it doesn't track, it bounces around. But if you didn't know certain things, you would probably sit and watch her and think that she was 100% believable. And then you get to the very end of the interview and then you find out what. So we'll get there. Her interview is actually rather long. But let me see, where else are we? Cheryl, you said that, yep, already knew all of that, which, what are you referring to? I'm trying to stay up with the chat. You said, yep, already knew all of that. That's in reference to what?
I think she was talking about all the stuff that you were saying about Garrett and Delphi and all that stuff. I think, if I remember correctly. Sorry, I've been looking for a video that I've been wanting to put in your chat. That your viewers could, might benefit from watching regarding transfer or touch DNA and how it works. I don't know if Cherie has been able to find it, but I can't find it. I should be able to find it, but
I've watched it. I'll have to look for it too. Is that something? Do you think is that something that I could actually like put up on my channel, or is it going to be copyrighted?
I have shown. It's a Michelle Malkin video, and so I don't think I've never gotten a copyright warning or anything from the videos that I've shown with Michelle Malkin's.
Okay.
So I don't think that.
Yeah, that would be, yeah. And then when we get, we do have someone that hopefully will be willing to come on and talk and discuss the DNA, seeing as how Ashley's attorney she didn't apply or file a motion with the court for a DNA expert. But, there's a lot, when you listen to Garrett's, especially his second one, that's going to be, I believe that will be the next one that I play next week. All of the things that Garrett says, it goes from just this and then it goes to that. And then it goes, oh, well, she helped me with the whole 9 yards. Well, that whole 9 yards, there's a lot of DNA missing then, if that's the case. And, there was DNA under Nicole's nails. That clearly was from the fight the fight that they got into. And then there's no DNA on the cord. And when you follow and you track the story of the cord, it was, even in Garrett's second interrogation video, he really can't keep his story straight. He bounces around on what she did or what she didn't do. Then he says one thing and the detective says, well, I thought you said this. And he goes, oh, one of those moments again, where you're catching him in a lie. And then you have the scarf, which was something that was out in the open right next to where Ashley had been. And I think it's more rational than not that if there was a conversation where Ashley asked Jasmine at some point, because they arrived at Jasmine's on Wednesday, late afternoon, and they stay there. And then the next morning, Garrett gets up and him and Mikey will leave. So she's there from, not early morning, but it was before noon that they left. And then she was in the trailer, which this is from the looks of it. When you see the trailer from the side, it looks like a big trailer, but it's actually very skinny. And it's really only a 900 square foot trailer with that. And then you have that little addition on the back. Do I think it's plausible that when that conversation took place, that maybe Ashley had reached over and picked up the scarf and held it in her hand and said, "Oh, this is pretty. Where'd you get it?" Or that she touched it, putting her cigarette out, or whatever the case may be. That's very explainable. But when you're dealing with an extension cord, and I know what they said in the courtroom, but I have a hard time believing that what was done with that cord. And by the time Garrett finally took the stand after all of the different variations of the story, when he says on the stand that, "Oh, now Ashley tied it and pulled on it," there would be some sort of DNA on that cord. I don't know if it was, I don't know if they just didn't do extensive testing or what the situation was with that. But you've got Nicole's clothing, you've got the blanket, you have the trash bags, and there's no DNA of Ashley's. Excuse
Amy,
me. Yeah.
excuse me. I have a question about the cord.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, about the cord.
Mhm.
What is the situation with I believe the sofa um, coaster or caster, the sofa, the foot of the sofa? Um, was that cord found around the foot of the sofa as well as on
No,
Nicole?
no, no.
Oh,
It was found with Nicole. Um, and this is where we go into two people, and that is why I've requested the jail calls from the Newton County Jail. I'm getting kind of the runaround on who actually holds those files. Um, so I've now contacted the next company who supposedly have those audio files, and that there's a process to request them. But I've requested the jail calls from April 1st when Garrett was arrested all the way up to the 11th when Talitha turned herself in, because my gut is telling me there were phone calls between the two of them during that time, and they were getting their stories in line. And then you have to remember too, Jason Palladino is, I believe, very much involved in this situation, and there might even have been phone calls with him. But um, that core, the whole lifting of the couch and all of that, I believe, was a correlated storyline that Garrett and Talitha, um, they they conjured up together. There's a couple of things that I believe that the two of them conjured up together, and I have proof, and I'm going to show it after we get through Talitha's interview, where Garrett blaming Ashley was kind of a premeditated situation. And
kind of. Sorry, I keep cutting you
go ahead.
off.
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say, that that's the biggest struggle that we've had in Daniel's case is getting jail calls. Um, not from Daniel, but from some of his accusers who were incarcerated at the times that they were interviewed um, about being allegedly assaulted. And we haven't been able to get the jail calls either, and it has to do with storage. And so now Cherie can probably explain it better, but it's like this big process, like you're saying, to go through to get the company. I don't remember all the details, but getting the company who now has custody of all jail calls, not just the ones we're speaking of, is apparently quite difficult to do. So it sounds like possibly the same kind of thing with the calls you're talking about.
Yeah, Newton County. Yeah, Newton County came back and said that the company that they use now is not the company who has those files, and they forwarded me the information to who to contact, and I've reached out to them multiple times, and I've yet to get a response. So it's probably a long shot to get them, but there's some other things that I'm looking into attempting to get, because I know that Talitha at one point got out on bond during this, while this was pending. and she was using a fake account, and I have the name of that account. She was using a fake account to correspond with Garrett while Garrett was in Pendleton prison. So those messages might be retrievable through GTL. So I still have a lot to acquire, but I have quite a bit. If we could just get the actual case file, that would save all of this paperwork and jumping through hoops. And, I also believe that Newton County is kind of onto what I'm doing. They had approved, I had requested I had requested the audio of Garrett and Mikey Hiddle, that same audio that Detective Rowe brought into the interrogation room to play for Garrett, to literally bust him out. And even Detective Rowe in that interview says, dude, you are saying that you did this. You are, and then Garrett tries to lie again and say, well, I said it was me because I didn't really know Mikey all that well. What? And even Garrett and even Detective Rowe says, so you're going to lie and put the blame on yourself. But
to protect somebody that you don't know very well.
right, like it doesn't make any sense at all. And but that audio was handed over to Lori. It's on the supplemental discovery list. It is a part of this case, and nobody used it. And when I requested it, I was given an approval for it. I was sent an invoice for it, but it was close to the time that I was going to be making my trip to Indiana, and I had other requests in as well. And I emailed their office and said, "Hey, I'm going to be there this Friday in town. I'm just going to swing by and pick these records up." And immediately, within like 20 minutes, boom, 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 one after the other, I get this this certificate from them denying all of my requests, saying that those items were for what is it, Cherie? Investigative purposes, investigatory.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we drafted a letter. We sent it back. I actually contacted PAC. I spoke to Luke Britt, and he agreed that the record should be released. He cited the rule in the PAC handbook, and I sent them a letter, and they still denied it. And they even went as far as saying that they made a mistake by even releasing the interrogation videos to me. Well, this case has been tried. This case has gone through the appeal process, and someone is in prison. There's really no reason for them to withhold any records in this case. So we are now going to file a complaint with PAC. And
Now, remind me, I know that Travis was saying, because I was right off the bat, well, then you need to file a federal lawsuit then, because that's a federal freedom of information, or whatever they call it in Indiana. That's a law that has to be abided with. And I was real quick to jump on that. And I don't remember exactly what, but Travis said that he didn't think that there was two different laws, and that I'm thinking of, I don't know, but because it confused me. But
well, Travis
I,
did provide us with case law that supports the argument in our favor.
right,
And
right.
Cherie did some research on it and has she I don't know if did she send you the email today too? Jack says
She did.
Indiana has, yeah, so we're going to pursue it that way. And Jack says Indiana has a loophole. Yeah, and I think that Travis said the same thing, and he actually sent cases over. So, and Jack, is that a loophole in our favor or a loophole not in our favor?
It's in the state's favor.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because and I can't remember, because I know we talked about it quite a while back, and I don't remember the details, but I remember that Jack had done a lot of digging into it as well, and I scratch the surface, but then when it starts getting too much legalese, I just kind of like, squirrel. And so, um, I but I remember, but I think since then, if I'm not mistaken, Jack, it's been since then that Travis has been able to find case law to support um, the defendant's favor, or the requester's favor.
Yeah, Cherie, do you want to speak on that? Because it allows them to declare things exempt if they want to.
Well,
Yeah.
off the
Oh,
top
that's
of my
great.
head, the cases that Travis had sent show that there's a problem when they just say, well, they're basically saying it's investigatory, and I'm denying it because I said so. I'm going to do it, not really give a reason, like because it protects somebody, some confidential thing or something. They're just saying no, So just saying it's investigatory is not enough. They have to give reasons why, is what the cases I found today show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they
what
didn't give
Sherry
a
said.
reason. They
No.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
didn't give a
there's
even in this second denial, they don't give a reason at all. And, my concern is, there's a lot of evidence in this case that, obviously the state did not present. Um, and, I know Cheryl's in here, and we've talked about the hat. And if she's still in here, if she would answer this for me. Um, the hat that you're claiming belonged to your daughter, is that the hat that Ashley had on in her interrogation video? Is that the hat that you're referring to? Number one. And if the answer to that is yes, then I'm going to ask the state why, when Ashley was arrested from that point on, that hat was in their custody. That was all of her belongings were taken into police custody and held until she got out on bond. And when she was let out on bond, they returned that hat to her. If Ashley if the claim is by the state, and you guys believe that that same hat belonged to Nicole, why was the hat never taken into custody as evidence? And it could have very easily been DNA tested. Not this video. Okay, are you saying there's another video? Because in her second interrogation video, she's not wearing a hat. She's in prison gear, and she has no hat. So, I mean, at some point, it would be nice if somebody would just simply say which hat Ashley is seen wearing, and this is the hat that. Here's the picture of Nicole in that same hat. That would just, there's really no reason why we have to beat around the bush about it. If we could just compare the two, that would be fantastic.
Well, and I don't know if the hat actually would apply in this situation, but some of this DNA stuff sounds like Innocence Project uh, material to me. But we know how difficult that is,
Right.
to get the Innocence
Well,
Project to look at something because they're so overwhelmed as it is.
well, right. And the public defender's office right now is so overwhelmed. Obviously, I mean, she's been sitting in post conviction status for almost 2 years now. You don't have the you don't have the video that was showed in court of what is that, of Ashley in a video, or are you talking about a picture of Ashley? Um, so that's why getting the whole entire case file would be fantastic. But um, Ashley is adamant. Ashley was fidgeting with the hat in the interrogation video.
Yeah, she fidgets with the hat in the interrogation video, and this one that we just watched. I know she
Right,
fidgeted with that hat.
right.
Um,
I mean, because she came in with the hat on, and then she took it
she
off,
took it off.
she
Yeah.
was sitting on right. But the only picture that I have of Nicole wearing a white knitted hat, um, you can zoom in on the interrogation video. You can zoom in to the hat. You can zoom in with the hat on Ashley. But the only picture that I have of Nicole in a white knitted hat, those two hats are not the same hat. And it's my understanding too, based on the autopsy photos, um, that Nicole, when she was found with her hair in a ponytail. And, and that knitted cap is not the kind of cap that you would wear if you were wearing a ponytail. So, I mean, I mean, we just need to get to the truth of the matter.
Oh, she was in a police station. I really feel like it was, but you're saying, Cheryl, that it wasn't in this video. I'm just really curious which video it was. She was
Yeah, 'cause
fidgeting with the hat. I don't know if she was picking anything off of it in this video, but
yeah. So
I'll have to watch again.
this video that we just watched, Ashley does have a white knitted hat. It's kind of like a cream color off-white hat, and she is fidgeting with it. She puts it on, she takes it off. She's sitting there, and it looks like she might be picking like little knitted balls off the hat. That would be this video that we just watched.
Yeah.
There is not another video that I requested all of the interrogation videos, and they sent them all to me. And the other video that we have of Ashley, she does not have a hat on. But like I said, if Garrett made this claim, the hat, yeah, Nicole did wear her hair in a ponytail with that hat. With that hat, okay. Um, but if Garrett made this claim, then the police literally had the hat that Ashley had with her in their custody. Why was it not tested? I mean, forensically, there's DNA, there's hair. I mean, that all could have been done. So that's frustrating. And
And
then, then you get into
those are the kinds of new evidence things that you should be able to bring into a post-conviction um, case. I
right,
think. I don't know. I'm not like I've said, I'm not an attorney. Just from what the experience that I've had in the last, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, um, you know, speaking with and working alongside attorneys, virtually speaking. I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that just seems like something that should be able to be that Ashley should be able to request that to have tested for DNA.
right, right. And even more so, it should have been done, for the prosecutor to be able to present that type of make that kind of accusation at trial. And that's literally one of the first sentences in his closing argument. Um, you know, I just see it's just frustrating when I go through all of this and I see all that wasn't done. All of the forensic evidence that wasn't presented on the phones. I have a list of all of the phones that were forensically examined, and the state brings up none of it, and I don't understand why. Because we know phones were being used, and messages were
Yeah.
being sent, calls were being made, and I just it's to me it just seems that um, they didn't present it, and Ashley's attorney didn't force them to present it. I
Well,
mean, because
Amy, I
she
think
should have done so too.
I think we all have had enough experience with dirty prosecutors. Um, uh, no, I don't. Well, I don't think that by any means, Cheryl. I
No,
don't
but
think that it was the hat. but it should have
No, I think
at least anybody, whether it was anybody who's on trial for something, for anything, should at least be afforded that opportunity to be able to prove or disprove whatever claim they're making against them in at trial. And if I say this about Stephen and Brendan's case, and I even say it about Daniel's case, if I find evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt whether that any of those three men that I work for now are guilty, I'm going to admit that, and I'm going to say I was wrong. I said a thing, I made a claim, I bet my life on it, and I was wrong. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to say that because that's the right thing to do. If I'm going to go around, claiming, things about a thing based on my investigation and research, then I better damn well be able to take the hit if it comes that I was wrong, and I will. It will suck, um, and yeah. So see, and that's Cheryl. That also isn't that also. So he's
well that
talking in the closing statement about facts that were not in evidence. That's
well no that's
improper.
well it wasn't just presented at it wasn't just brought up in closing argument. When Garrett was actually on the stand, Durinsky pulls out a picture and asks Garrett when the picture was taken. The prosecutor, I don't see through the transcripts, provided proof of when the picture was taken. He relies on Garrett's account. When was this picture taken? And he said, I think that day. And then
The
goes on to
prosecutor
question.
relied on a known liar who
Yeah,
lied
it's right.
to
It's
this
right.
day is lying, but he relied on that person's testimony to
Right.
make a case
And
against anybody else. That's just,
right.
I
And
don't
then the
know.
prosecutor, like, I will, in another video that I'm putting together, I will pull up the prosecutor's statements to the media, quoted statements where he claims that he is pursuing life without parole for Garrett in Nicole's case. And then at trial wants to stand there in front of the jury and say, and ask Garrett, well, you didn't gain anything by being here today. Yes, he did. He could have, number one, got life in prison without
Yeah.
parole. And initially he could have gotten 65 years. And then it gets dropped down to 55 years with the possibility of parole after only serving 80%. So
That's just,
without being charged, and that, right. And that is another epic fail by Ashley's attorney, that she
yeah.
should have argued with that extensively, because that was a bold-faced lie he was telling. But she wasn't objecting, she wasn't arguing it. And I don't know, the bigger question is why. But fact of the matter is, Garrett did gain a lot by testifying against someone. And Ashley was the only someone who eventually took her case to trial. All, these arguments about the plea deals and whatnot, what people don't know is that they were trying to get her to admit to something that she did not do. That's why I have documentation also that her negotiations on the plea deal were deteriorating because she wasn't agreeing to what they wanted her to say. So there's still a lot that we're going to talk about in all of this, but Garrett did absolutely gain. And at that point in time, Ray's case was not being taken seriously. Robert Guy at the time, who was the public defender or the prosecutor in White County, was him hauling around about those charges. And, well, we're going to see what happens here. It might not be in our best interest, financially to try him, for this case if, he's found guilty in Nicole's case. So,
that is much
Garrett
bullshit because every victim and their family deserves justice, and I don't give
they
a fuck
do.
how much it costs the state. That is, sorry for my language. I am so sorry, chat.
That's okay.
That is infuriates me. It just
Mhm.
infuriates me. Every victim and their family deserve justice. And just because somebody's already serving prison time, he's already not serving enough prison time. That should already be. I don't even understand how somebody who admittedly murders somebody, I'm so sorry, I'm saying that out loud, but I don't know how they literally admit to doing something and then they get the plea deal. No, that's not how it works. Or that's not how
Yeah,
it's
well,
supposed to work. Oh gosh.
well, the thing is the first 6 months, yeah, I know.
Good for you.
I think it really ticked everybody off. And, not only that, but Garrett, after being arrested, in this case for Nicole, for 6 months, for 6 months, Ray's family was led to believe that he died of natural causes. Again, another reason why Garrett thought the Ray case was never going to be charged. And this 55-year plea deal was a godsend when he got it. He wasn't even indicted for Ray's charges until 2023. So, for Durinsky to go into court and sit there and tell the jury that Garrett wasn't gaining anything by being there, and Ashley's attorney sitting there not setting the record straight or objecting and allowing that to be said was bullcrap. And the first thing that Ashley asked me, she said, "Do you think?" And maybe Cherie, you know the answer to this. I've meant to ask Travis numerous times, and I always forget. But Ashley said that she and Lori were literally arguing during the trial through writing on a legal pad on the table. And Ashley wanted to know what happens to that legal pad where a defendant and her attorney are going back and forth. And Ashley is asking her why she didn't, like, why are you not saying anything? Why aren't you stopping this? Why aren't you objecting? She wanted to know if that legal pad becomes part of her case file. She said, because if you could get that and see throughout the course of that week, she was like, that whole entire pad of paper was used.
Well, I would probably keep something like that, but I can't swear to it that you have to do it. I would have to ask some other attorneys in our office because, I'm not sure, but I would be keeping something like that.
Well,
Yeah, because
let me just say this without saying too much. I believe it may just be individual attorneys, but I believe that those legal pads, may be saved by some attorneys as part of case file. I have reason to believe that. That's all I can really say. Sorry.
no, that's fine. No, you're fine. Yeah, that was one thing that she asked me about, do I think I could get it? So yeah, Garrett, I don't, that went on for 6 months. And then when they came back with the cause of death and it was ruled as a homicide, um, and then Garrett starts going on open secrets and um, saying some of the things that he said. I really think that he was arrogant and he really thought that he wasn't going to be charged. And so that plea deal really did benefit him, and it should have been made clear to the jury. Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing, and I'm sure that was pretty devastating when you found that news out. Um, but this whole situation is horrible, and Carroll County, if Carroll County would have just done their damn job and kept him in jail for what he did to Ashley, Nicole and Ray both still would have been alive. That is the most. I just don't understand how that was even allowed to happen. Not once, but twice he was let out. Okay.
Yeah, that's despicable. And unfortunately, we see it throughout the criminal justice system all over the country, where if somebody would have just been kept in prison where they belong to begin with, so many people would be alive. So many people would have been unharmed or, abused or assaulted or molested, and it's part of our broken system. Doesn't make anybody feel any better at all to say that. But it's just true. And it's heartbreaking for those who, especially victims who lose their lives and families of victims who've lost their lives because the
Mhm.
justice system didn't do what it should have done.
Yeah. It's, it's, it's just sad. It really is. And, you know, I I feel for Ray's family. I mean, they still don't have any kind of an answer as to what really happened over there. Um, I've been trying to dig into some of that stuff because, it just seems like there's some reason there may not be a connection with all of this, but then, it's 50-50. Um, but I was able to track down there was an individual who testified at the grand jury hearing, who apparently is the individual who bought the television that was stolen from Ray's. So I know, and I can say that it was Garrett that he bought the television from. Right. Yeah, we know that now, that
Yeah.
it wasn't Nicole. I think that Ray had, a couple of different people in and out of his home at different
Yeah.
times,
That's
um,
what
who
it
just
sounded like to me.
who took advantage of him. And but I'm really hoping that Ray's case does go to trial. I keep watching. Garrett's not been transported out of White County back to Pendleton. The last I knew is he was still hoping to get a plea deal, but if he does get a plea deal, they still have, they still haven't charged him with he hasn't been charged with aggravated circumstances. Um, which, if he was to take another plea deal and that end up running concurrent with the sentence that he has, that's not justice at all. Unless they filed, aggravated charges where they could, in Indiana, I believe he can be an additional 8 to 20 years could be added. Yes,
Yeah.
it was Garrett that sold the television, and Nicole was not with him when the television was sold. Um, so, but I know that they can add an additional 8 to 20 years on top of a plea deal, if it runs concurrent. So I don't know if
You
there's
know
any
what?
consolation.
What really pisses me off, and I know this is not at all about Daniel's case, and we're talking about two very, very different crimes, but it just pisses me off that uh, a a defendant like Daniel um, doesn't doesn't physically take anybody's life, and he's spending 263 years in prison, and each one of those sentences are run consecutively, meaning one after the other, after the other, after the other. If he's got 10 years on one and 30 years on the next, he has to do the 10 first before he can start serving the 30. It has to be consecutive. That's the way it is in Daniel's case. So how the hell does somebody like Garrett Kurtz, who is an admitted killer, in my opinion, serial, get to even have an option, first of all, like I said, of the plea deal, And then to have another case lumped in with that is not justice for Nicole, and that is not justice for Ray, for either one of them. That's a fucking
No.
slap on the hand for Garrett Kurtz. Who the fuck is this asshole? I don't get it.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't
and
get it.
he
Does he have some
literally
kind of like golden dick or something? I mean, this is ridiculous. God damn.
he is, I mean, and he's flagrant about it. Like, I got 55 years. What else can they do to me? He's callous. He really is. And all this BS, like, well, I wanted her to be found. Well, Detective Rose spoon-fed that line to you, and you basically swallowed it whole and regurgitated it about 20 times. "Oh, well, I did it because I wanted her to be found." No, there is not an ounce of empathy in his body whatsoever. And, he if he would have never if this would have never if he wouldn't have been caught, okay, let's just pretend that he had some sort of smarts about him. I mean, in 1 month, within 16 days, he had taken 2 lives. He would have gone on to take a lot more. And, I check. I think that, he literally could have been right up there with, like, I think his strangulation, theme was kind of like his thing, to where, BTK had his own theme, and then you have Ted Bundy. But I think that Garrett was somebody who was so disassociated with reality that he would just snap on a dime. He literally would just snap. And, um, unfortunately, I think, unbeknownst to Ashley, she knew. That's okay. I think she knew that side of him, and she knew what his triggers were. And I believe that she became so, what's the word? Submissive to him. She didn't even realize it, that it was just how things came to be. And it's very, especially when you know someone who's going through that situation. Like my sister was in a relationship like that for a very long time, and you couldn't tell her jack. She would have, I mean, it was so horrible. Just saying, or, it was so horrible in my sister's case that when we were at the funeral home, and, we had to do everything, of course, I'm sitting there next to the person that I believe was ultimately responsible for her death. And he opted to do the memory, when they played, like, the memorial video, during the showing up to the funeral. When he put that together, he could not even really find a picture of my sister where she didn't have a black eye. So at her funeral, during her memorial video, there are pictures streaming of my sister with black eyes throughout the video. And you couldn't have told her she was in an abusive relationship. Well, that's just Derek. Well, he just gets mad, you know. Um, you just, women in those situations, you want to literally, you know, drag them by their hair and take them away from it, but they refuse. And it's just a weird, emotional state that they put themselves in, that there's no getting through. And the ones, who attempt to get away, that's the scariest part of the situation that they're in, is when they're attempting to get away.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Uh, once a victim of DV decides, which has probably been years in the making, decides to leave the situation, that's the time that their life is the most in danger, when they've
Mhm.
made the decision, and and the abuser realizes or recognizes that, that's when that victim's life is the most in danger. Sorry, I
And
don't, yeah,
and
it just,
I think it's clear from just, watching, and I do talk to Ashley every day. But talking to her and then watching her, you get a different sense of. I feel like it's very apparent that she's been, like she has been beaten down, and I don't just mean that physically. I mean it emotionally, confidence wise. I feel like she was just beaten down to where even speaking out against Garrett, she was feeling like she was really treading on thin ice. That's just the sense that I get from it. Now I know, she's gone through a lot of classes, she's gone through a lot of therapy. Um, she has been diagnosed with, post traumatic stress syndrome. She was on some medication for a while um, to deal with those emotions. And then there was also the incident where, there it's called a the parte, I believe is how you say it, order put in because, Ashley had uh, made it very clear that she was scared of all of the people that were involved in the case. And so it was intended that when they were sentenced, that they would not be put in the same prison. Well, Ashley was sent to Rockville. And after about 6 months, I think it was 6 or 7 months of her being there, lo and behold, she worked in the kitchen. And lo and behold, one day, here walked in Talitha. And Ashley lost her shit. And she had a breakdown. She had to go to the, I guess you would call it like the infirmary. She refused to go back to work in the kitchen because I guess that's where Talitha was also going to be working. And
jeez.
she got, huh?
I just said, oh, geez.
So she got wrote up in Rockville. I absolutely
Uh,
do, Cheryl. Respect.
yes, yeah,
Yes, and
sorry,
thank you.
absolutely.
Absolutely, and thank you for having the courage to come on here and speak. And I respect your opinion. I'm only trying to do the right thing for everybody. So, and I understand that you don't agree, and I understand and respect that. And you have a wonderful night. Um,
Yeah.
but they put in a so Ashley got wrote up, and she had to go to a hearing about the write up. And when they found out that there was a saparte on file, it's like a separation order basically, but they have a funny name for it. Um, the write up was removed, and then she had put in for a transfer. Well, that they came back and said, well, the rules are that you have to be in one prison for at least a year before you can put in a transfer. So I think that it was her counselor that helped get involved, and on with that situation, and then the fact that moving her to a prison that was closer to home because she had a child also kind of teetered the scale. So she was transferred, and that's now how she is in Indiana Women's Prison, and Talitha is still in Rockville. So there's that.
Well, Amy, I think you're doing a great service to Ashley and to Ray and to Nicole. And I realize not everyone feels that way. Cheryl, you have my utmost respect. Um, and I mean that very sincerely. And it's not an easy task to undertake. I told you that from the very beginning, Amy, when we were talking about, you know, you doing this and, how did I handle it in Daniel's case and things like that. It's not easy. It is not easy to go public with information that you have that, you know, our legal documents that you FOIA'd or however else you've gotten them, and say that you're trying to help someone who everybody else believes, or most people believe, is part of a crime, a serious crime. It's not an easy thing to do. So I think you're very brave for doing it. And I think that the family members that have been in the chat and have expressed their feelings and their opinions have done it very respectfully, and as much as they possibly can. And I think that it's not an easy thing to do. And I don't come across families members of the accusers in Daniel's case, because all of his accusers have scattered like little roaches under the next, the closest rock. And none of them really, I shouldn't say none of them, but most of them didn't really have a lot of family that really, especially after the lawsuit was settled, and these women only ended up with, what was it, Cherie, $5,000 each or something that Travis figured out for us.
I can't
You know,
remember, but
it was a
not
very
much.
low number, very low number that the city settled for those ladies. But who I encounter is even worse than some of the, possibly especially the family members I see in your chat. I encounter the public opinion, and it's horrible. And it is in this case as well. I understand that, but they will beat us down at every turn whenever they can and say the most vile, horrible things about us and about Daniel. And you just got to keep going, and you just got to keep doing it. It matters to you, and so you just keep fighting for it. And we all have respect for that. It's a brave thing to do.
Yeah, it's not easy. And it's a lot of work. It's a full-time job on top of a full-time job. So, yes, Jack, you're right. Yeah, what's the point? So, all we can do is just keep moving forward, and hopefully, hopefully we can get our hands on the case file. That'll make things a whole lot easier. Because I don't think that right now Newton County is wanting to play ball at all. So that makes it really tough.
Well, sorry, you know that the state is going to do everything in their power to protect their conviction. Yeah, I know about the names you're being called, Jack. But you just realize, even though it might, have your name in front of that horrible name or attack or, whatever, whatever. It's somebody who doesn't know you at all. And, they're saying things to us in, behind a keyboard that they would probably never say to our faces. So it's fine. It's whatever. But, yeah, it is a ton of work, and I don't even work full time. I don't even work at all, Amy. And preparing what you're doing, working a job and working this case full time, and getting your shows together, your presentations together. I I guess you have youth on your side. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how people do it.
Not
I don't know how
really.
you're doing it. It's just that's just another feather in the cap as far as I'm concerned. So
Right. Well, we are we're pushing 11 o'clock. So I think we've put in enough time tonight, and I have to work tomorrow. I think some people probably else they all have to too, except for you, lucky butt, get to stay home. I can't wait for that. I can't wait to retire. That's no word. That's not even.
it is nice.
But she'll be
I know.
working on for the podcast, or getting ready for our podcast.
I'll be- Yes,
Yeah,
I've spent most of the day today going through preparing some video clip and reading through the entire transcript and picking out lots and lots of crazy lies and inconsistencies. I hope you all will join us tomorrow night. It's going to be pretty cool. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. No, Rhonda, her channel is linked in the show notes. Foul Play is also linked in the show notes. So you guys should go over there and check those channels out. And there's a lot more information. Well, they've been around for a lot longer than I have. So there's a lot of information over there about Stephen Avery's case and Daniel's case. And I pop in and listen when I can. And I listen at work too, because I'm really behind. I got to get caught. Daniel's case has got so much information that is on Rhonda's channel. So, and it's several hours long each episode. So I listen to it at work, and so hop over there and subscribe to those guys and check them out. And I think that you guys will be pleasantly surprised with the information that they're putting out in those cases as well. So, but I think we can let everybody go for the night. It's almost 11 o'clock. So I'm going to say my good nights. I'm going to let you all say your good nights and say good night to everyone who joined us in the chat. Please like and subscribe. That helps the channel a lot and helps us get the word out too about what we're doing here. And it's greatly appreciated. So I'll let you ladies say your good nights and then we'll hop on out of here.
Good night, everyone, and thank you for coming.
Yep. Thank you to Amy for inviting us, and thank you to everybody in the chat for your great comments and questions. And thanks for being here and spending this time with us. And we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Good night, everybody.